cultivation world, I begin by getting struck by lightning. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 826. Boy, these two people don't know you yet. I will teleport you over immediately. Take this opportunity to continue to attack them. At this time, a thought appeared in Su Fan's mind again. But before he could react, the person had disappeared from the spot. When Su Fan appeared again, he had already appeared in front of an evil cultivator in the refining void realm. The other party had just finished performing a powerful Taoist spell, and he saw a person standing in front of him. He immediately understood what was going on. It turned out that this kid had been playing tricks all along. A small cultivator in the nascent soul realm actually dared to face a great cultivator in the refining void realm, who gave him the courage. But what he couldn't accept the most was that this kid actually successfully attacked two fellow cultivators in succession. For the death of the two evil cultivators, he was not only not sad, but excited. Now that there is no competition from these two people, the chance of winning the bounty bonus will increase greatly. He just wanted to concentrate his divine thoughts to attack Su Fan, but suddenly felt a black screen in front of his eyes, and the demon god living in his body actually woke up at this time. The demon god just woke up and started to make a fuss. The spiritual thoughts that the evil old man had just gathered were scattered, and his sea of consciousness was also in chaos, causing him to fall into a short state of unconsciousness. This situation was very short, less than half a breath. For high-level evil cultivators, the demon god on their bodies has almost taken shape, so this kind of thing is nothing. But if the demon god wakes up during the battle, it will cost him his life. The half-breath time was over in the blink of an eye, and when he opened his eyes, he felt that the sky had darkened and a huge hammer had hit his head. Fortunately, the protective magic array on the robe was passively activated, blocking the heavy hammer for him. He was about to launch a counterattack, but found that the demon god in his body was making a fuss again, causing him to fall into a state of unconsciousness again. This time, there was no protective magic weapon to block the hammer for him. When he recovered, he felt that half of his face was gone. At this time, he no longer had the courage to fight back, and only wanted to escape from here immediately. But just as he was about to launch the escape technique, the demon god in his body started to stir again, causing the mana he had just gathered to dissipate instantly, and he fell into a state of trance again. And then, nothing happened. Swoosh, a thick black demon smoke burst out from the evil cultivator's body, and instantly condensed into a ferocious demon several feet tall. Swish, a sword light swept across the demon god's body, instantly slicing and exploding the demon body that had just condensed. Just as Su Fan was about to continue swinging his sword at the demon god's phantom, a thought suddenly came to his mind. Leave here immediately. Before Su Fan could figure out what was going on, he had already disappeared from the spot. Boom boom boom, the moment his figure disappeared, a loud sound that shook the sky resounded. The extremely terrifying power of heaven and earth fell down, and tens of millions of tons of seawater within a radius of 100 miles were lifted up high. The huge explosion formed a violent hurricane, and the shock wave it produced raged wildly around, and the vast vibrations flooded and swept the entire world. The shadow of the demon god that Su Fan had just chopped off was also submerged in this terrifying Taoist storm. The evil cultivator in the refining void realm had just performed a powerful Taoist spell, and Su Fan was teleported to him by the boss of the upper realm of the Witch Gate. Originally, he thought that this time he would be able to kill the evil cultivator smoothly like the previous times. Who would have thought that just as Su Fan teleported in front of the opponent, a divine thought that had long been condensed had already roared towards him. At this time, a blood-colored light appeared on his body, blocking the opponent's divine thought. Although he blocked the divine thought attack of the evil cultivator, it still caused his sea of consciousness to vibrate violently, and even the bloodlight that blocked the divine thought burst. Fortunately, the Rakshasa Dushan crying soul demon sound consumes very little energy, and the casting time is extremely fast. Su Fan pinched his fingers and chanted the spell, and instantly launched the Rakshasa Dushan crying soul demon sound. The opponent had already gathered a divine thought. He was about to control the divine thought that turned into a sharp thorn and attack Su Fan's sea of consciousness again. At this time, a silent demonic thought wave had spread. The opponent's eyes suddenly went dark, and the divine thought that had been condensed was instantly shattered, and he also fell into a short state of unconsciousness. Next, Su Fan once again copied the attack method of the previous few times, and soon took down the last evil cultivator in the refining void realm. He swung his sword to kill the phantom of the demon god parasitic in the opponent's body, and collected a ball of black demon smoke into the oil lamp magic weapon. Only then did Su Fan breathe a sigh of relief. Finally, these old guys were killed. It was too difficult. He was able to kill 4 evil cultivators in the refining void realm at the nascent soul realm. The secret method of Rakshasa Dushan crying soul demon sound taught to him by the evil Buddha Wangda was definitely indispensable. But if there was no help from the big boss of the upper realm of the Witch Gate, he would be powerless. Apart from anything else, just teleporting him to the front of several evil cultivators in an instant played a very important role. Moreover, the other party also blocked a divine thought attack for him, otherwise he would definitely die. In addition, the blood sacrifice of the corpse of the old demon of the blood spirit also allowed his strength to reach the realm of half-step refining emptiness. Of course, the strength of the 4 evil cultivators in the refining emptiness realm was relatively weak, and they did not take him seriously at all. In addition, several evil cultivators had their own ulterior motives and were extremely wary of each other. This allowed Su Fan to seize the opportunity to get close to them, using his powerful physical strength, the secret method of Rakshasa Dushan crying soul demon sound, and the 8th level top-grade body Taoist immortal weapon to defeat them one by one. Combining the above many conditions, this allowed him to create a miracle. It can be said that the time, place, and people are all in place. If even one of the above conditions is missing, he will return empty-handed and will also lose his life. No, the demon in the body of the evil cultivator just now is not dead. At this time, Su Fan received a thought from the boss of the upper world of the woman in his mind. He turned around suddenly and saw the dark and thick demon smoke on the sea in the distance, which had spread to the surrounding area of several miles. The dark and thick demon smoke was like a boiling pot, constantly rolling and boiling. He never expected that the foreign demon that just lived in the body of the evil cultivator did not die under the powerful Taoist magic. Not only did it not die, but it also took advantage of the battle between Su Fan and the evil cultivator to completely condense into shape. Moreover, this foreign demon was very cunning. It should have dived into the deep sea and even concealed a detection of the boss of the upper world of the woman until the demon body was completely formed and rushed out of the sea. At this moment, Su Fan had sensed an unprecedented powerful aura, and he was immediately furious. This guy, that is a foreign demon in the realm of refining emptiness. Although Su Fan had just used the demon-slaying sword to kill the 3 demon gods living in the evil cultivator's body, he did so only when the shadow of the demon had just taken shape. Even so, he still had to slash hundreds of swords before he completely killed those foreign demons. Su Fan couldn't help but sigh. His plan was originally perfect, but he didn't expect such a flaw to appear. Boy, it's almost formed, run away. After receiving the idea from the big boss of the witch clan, Su Fan disappeared from the spot again before he could react. Bang! But this time he hit the invisible and intangible barrier and bounced back violently. It's too late, you have fallen into the demonic domain of this demon. Chapter 827 What on earth is it? Su Fan was ejected several miles away by the invisible barrier, and then he managed to stabilize his body. He turned his head and looked at the boiling black magic smoke on the sea in the distance, and couldn't help sighing in his heart. Unexpectedly, there was still a mistake in the end. It can be said that there is always a loophole. Just now, I was busy dealing with the last evil cultivator in the refining void realm, giving this foreign demon time to recover his demon body. Some high-level bosses in the demon world like to accept the worship of some evil cultivators of the human race, and use magic power to help some cultivators with extremely poor qualifications to quickly improve their realm. Although most cultivators disdain to practice in this way, there are too many human cultivators in this world of cultivation. The qualifications of most people are very ordinary. If there are no sufficient cultivation resources, it will be very difficult to break through the shackles one by one. The foundation building realm and the golden elixir realm are not so easy, but once you reach the Yuanying realm, it is like a natural moat for ordinary cultivators. Therefore, many cultivators chose to step into the evil path, and by worshipping the great demons in the upper realm of the demon clan, they could get their help to improve their realm in a very short time. Of course, those old monsters in the demon world would not be so kind. They would inhabit a wisp of their soul in the body of the evil cultivator, and as the realm of the evil cultivator continued to grow, they would breed their own clones in the lower realm. When the time is right, these clones will occupy the host's body and replace it. The great demon opposite has almost taken shape, and it may not take many years for it to occupy the body of the evil cultivator. Boom! At this time, the thick black demon smoke on the sea in the distance suddenly erupted with a thunderous roar. The demon smoke that was originally rolling and boiling violently, instantly condensed into a phantom of a foreign demon of more than 100 feet. Moreover, the phantom of this foreign demon became more and more solid. After a while, the huge phantom was almost real. The dark smoke lingered around the demon. Through the smoke, the demon's appearance could be seen clearly. The demon had a face like a sharp triangle, and two huge eyeballs protruding from the eye sockets like a lizard, revealing a sinister and resentful look. The huge mouth was like the abyss, and the long and sharp fangs like steel needles flash cold light. From time to time, it howled shrilly, spreading sadness and pain. The whole body was wet, with a blood-red luster, revealing bloody and blurred muscle texture, as if it had been skinned, and the bare body secreted disgusting mucus. The demon's body seemed to be lingering with layers of blood-red mist, like a blood river across the sky, weird and spooky. A pair of scarlet claws were bloody, and the nails were as narrow and sharp as awls, flashing cold light and dripping with blood. "Senior, what on earth is this? I don't know much about the demon race." Su Fan hurriedly took out the oil lamp magic weapon after hearing this. The evil cultivator Wangda was lying on the recliner and leisurely enjoying the service of several little ghost slaves. His eyes suddenly condensed, and before Su Fan called him, he jumped up from the recliner. Looking at the foreign demon statue over 100 feet in the distance, the evil Buddha Wangda's eyes suddenly became solemn. "How did you provoke this thing?" Hearing the evil Buddha Wangda say this, Su Fan hurriedly asked. "This is the demon god parasitic in the body of that evil cultivator." "What on earth is it?" "This guy is called Umo. Even among the demons, it is an extremely rare group. Not many people know about it." After hearing the evil Buddha Wangda's words, Su Fan couldn't help but frown. From the name of the big demon opposite and its gloomy and weird appearance, it feels that this guy should not be a demon race known for its physical body. This thing, what exactly can it do? Legend has it that the ghost demon doesn't like close combat, and is good at creating illusions and dreams, especially to seduce the minds and wills of monks, until they are completely alienated and crazy, and fall into the endless devil prison. After listening to the introduction of the evil Buddha Wangda, Su Fan couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. The methods of the ghost demon opposite him were nothing in his eyes. Su Fan was actually most afraid of the demons with strong bodies. After all, his biggest reliance was his abnormal body. Once his body lost its advantage, he would fall into a very passive dilemma. "Do you have any secret method to resist the charm of the ghost demon?" Seeing that the evil Buddha King didn't respond, Su Fan continued to threaten. "If I am confused by this ghost demon and fall into the devil prison, then we will be here today." The evil Buddha Wangda took a deep breath, and then looked at Su Fan solemnly. "I have a Buddhist secret method called the Great Wheel of Heavenly Dragon chanting to exterminate demons. You must swear in front of me that you must not pass this secret method on to the gods, and you must not use this secret method against Buddhists." At this point, the evil Buddha Wangda took a deep breath. This Buddhist secret method is not difficult to learn. In fact, it is just a scripture. As long as you keep reciting it, you can keep your mind and resist the charm of the ghost demon. Even if you are trapped in the devil's prison, you can keep a trace of reason. After hearing what this old man said, Su Fan was immediately excited. The various secret methods in the hands of the evil Buddha Wangda were all good things in his era, and many of them were even precious classics that had been cut off from inheritance. Next, the evil Buddha Wangda taught Su Fan this, the Great Wheel of Heavenly Dragon, chanting to exterminate demons word by word. This secret method is really just like what the evil Buddha Wangda said, just like an ordinary Buddhist scripture. The entire scripture is only a few hundred words, and the structure of these words in the Buddhist scriptures is very cumbersome and obscure, and the pronunciation is even more obscure and difficult to pronounce. For some reason, if this scripture is read together, it does not give Su Fan the comfortable feeling of hearing monks chanting in the temple in his previous life, but gives him an extremely eerie feeling. Su Fan memorized the Buddhist scripture with only a few hundred words in a short time. Although notes made when reciting this Buddhist scripture are very strange and difficult to understand, it is not difficult for Su Fan, who is in the late nascent soul realm, to memorize and read it completely. As for what this scripture means, the evil Buddha Wangda does not know. According to him, you just need to recite it over and over again, and then there will definitely be an effect that he can't imagine. Just when Su Fan was trying hard to recite the Great Wheel of Heavenly Dragon Shan Shan Demon Exterminating Heart Sutra, he received a thought from the big boss of the Woman Upper Realm in his mind. I can help you resist the soul attack of the ghost demon, but that's all. Once you fall into the devil's prison or the dream, I will be powerless. It seems that even this Woman Upper Realm boss is powerless to deal with the charm of the ghost demon in front of him. Although the Woman Upper Realm boss must have boundless magic power, they are separated by two realms after all. No matter what, he has to fight hard. Anyway, he has been trapped in the devil's domain of the ghost demon in the refining void realm opposite, and he can't escape even if he wants to. If he wants to escape this disaster today, he can only kill this ghost demon. But to be honest, facing the upcoming fierce battle, Su Fan has no confidence at all. Boom! Just as he was thinking wildly, he heard a deafening and terrifying sound. The sea surface with a radius of hundreds of miles was suddenly shrouded by endless dark magic smoke. The whole world in front of Su Fan seemed to change color in an instant, and he seemed to be trapped in an endless devil's prison. Wherever he looked, there was endless darkness. He could no longer see hope or sunshine. He would be trapped in this place forever, experiencing endless fear all the time. It seemed that countless people were struggling and howling all around Su Fan. He could clearly hear all kinds of shrill howls in his ears, as if countless ghosts were sobbing around him. At this time, the ghost demon that was more than 100 feet tall appeared in Su Fan's sight. Its ugly demon eyes stared at Su Fan intently, and its resentful eyes were filled with cold light, revealing countless negative auras such as death, pain, despair, wailing, and shrillness. Su Fan's hair exploded and his mind was beating wildly. The great terror between life and death almost forced his heart to explode. His ears were buzzing and his heart was beating wildly. Buzz! Su Fan's eyes suddenly went black after hearing a buzzing sound. He became confused and his body seemed to fall into an endless abyss. He just felt that he was falling down all the time, as if there would never be an end. At this moment, the little man in Su Fan's body suddenly opened his eyes. HMPH, at this moment, a cold snort came from Su Fan's ears, like a thunderbolt exploding in his mind. He shuddered suddenly and instantly recovered from his lost state. Su Fan opened his eyes and saw the ghost demon opposite him. The other party grinned with a triangular sawtooth mouth, revealing the sharp and interlaced teeth inside, like steel needles, and a smile of contempt and disdain appeared on his ugly face. Its pair of resentful and weird demon eyes seemed to be able to trigger the deepest fear and despair in the human body. The gloomy and resentful eyes seemed to be able to suck out the soul of a person. Buzz! The eyes of the ghost demon suddenly glowed green, and a tide of evil power suddenly swept out and enveloped Su Fan. Su Fan's ears suddenly heard a series of low wails, as if they were the chants of ancient gods. The voice was filled with all kinds of extremely gloomy and strange auras, as well as ominous and terrifying murderous intentions. All things were mixed together, filled with resentment, coldness, rottenness, depravity and other auras. The feeling that was almost confusing and irresistible made Su Fan's mind become muddled again. Just when Su Fan's mind was about to fall into confusion again, the only remaining trace of reason reminded him to recite the Great Wheel of Heavenly Dragon's Enchanting Demon Exterminating Heart Sutra immediately. At this moment, all of Su Fan's reason had almost fallen into a state of complete loss. But he still forced himself to raise the last trace of reason and subconsciously began to recite the cumbersome and obscure Buddhist scriptures. With waves of obscure and difficult-to-read Sanskrit sounds coming out, like a deafening dragon roar, all ominous feelings and terrifying murderous intentions were instantly dispelled. Su Fan's mind began to slowly recover, his eyes became more and more clear, and in the end even his mind became firm. At this time, seeing Su Fan's eyes recover so quickly, the ugly face of the ghost demon opposite showed a look of surprise for the first time. Then he saw its two huge lizard-like eyeballs suddenly blinked. Su Fan felt that the scene in front of him changed suddenly, and found himself lying in a cramped and dilapidated thatched house. He knew that he was brought into a dream by the ghost demon, but even though he knew that this was a dream, he felt a real feeling of being there. This dream started from the childhood of his predecessor who traveled through time. He was miserable and helpless in his childhood and suffered bullying in his youth. Later, he encountered immortal fate and embarked on the path of a cultivator, but because of his extremely poor qualifications, he could only struggle to survive and walked on thin ice all the way. Until the age of 30, He still did not break through the shackles and was stuck in the second level of key refining. Later, he accidentally obtained the heavenly demon holy body secret, risked his life to try, and died, and was possessed by the soul of Su Fan from another world. Then, the dream scene changed again. Su Fan's past life flashed through his mind like a movie. This also made Su Fan recall his ex-wife, parents and children, as well as everyone he knew and everything he had done. At this time, his mind was slightly disturbed, and slowly began to fluctuate, as if it turned into a surging sea wave, hitting his mind wave by wave. Fortunately, Su Fan had experienced countless life and death disasters, and had also seen through all the grievances and entanglements in the mortal world, and had long since broken through all the mortal thoughts. The surging tide of his heart also slowly subsided, and finally became calm. Boom! At this time, with a buzzing sound, the scenery in front of Su Fan changed again. At this moment, he found himself in a vast and boundless starry sky. There was nothing around except the stars and the extremely bright starlight. Su Fan felt that he was floating cross-legged in the vast starry sky, and an extremely huge ancient book appeared in front of him. As the ancient book slowly opened, obscure and complicated ancient Taoist texts emerged on it. The content in the ancient book stunned Su Fan. He had forgotten that he was in a dream and was concentrating on the Taoist text in the ancient book. The content of this ancient book contains the mysteries of the great ways, the changes of yin and yang, the impermanence of life and death, the rotation of the 5 elements, as if it evolved the birth and death of the heavens and the worlds, and it seems that all 3,000 great ways are in it. At this time, let alone Su Fan. As long as it is any cultivator in this world of cultivation who is interested in the great way, he will be addicted to it and unable to extricate himself. Cause and effect, life and death, yin and yang, chaos, destruction, extinction, end of fate, extinction of fate, 5 elements, 4 images, 8 trigrams and other great ways are constantly changing and interpreting in this ancient book. Various great ways contain infinite mysteries and endless power, which also shocked Su Fan. He couldn't help but be stunned, and even his whole body and mind were intoxicated by it. Su Fan could not help but interpret the contents of the ancient book, as if a great road was just around the corner, and a miraculous seed of the Tao was condensed in his body. As Su Fan continued to interpret, his mind began to become more and more confused, and his mind became more and more crazy. If Su Fan continued like this, even if he had a strong willpower, he would eventually be reborn with his inner demons, or even die of exhaustion of his soul. Chapter 828. He is indeed a bit overconfident. Now Su Fan has fallen into a state of near madness, his mind is full of endless mysteries. At this time, whether it is the big boss of the upper world of the Witch Gate, or Sister Zhen in the secret realm, even Wang Da in the oil lamp magic weapon, they are all anxious. But they can only watch and can't help it all. Needless to say, Sister Zhen has planted a seed of love in Su Fan. In this life, she is his person, and in death, she will be his ghost. Evil Buddha Wang Da and Su Fan don't have much feelings, but they have signed a symbiotic contract. If this kid dies, his soul will be scattered. Even the big boss of the Witch Gate doesn't want him to die. This kid is definitely a very good partner. How long have you known him, and you have already sacrificed blood for him so many times, and the quality of the blood sacrifice materials is not low. At this time, the little man in Su Fan's body also opened his eyes. He frowned, hesitated slightly, and then closed his eyes again. After nearly a day, Su Fan was still sitting cross-legged in the vast starry sky, always in a crazy state. This also made everyone stunned. Is this kid still human? But looking at Su Fan's state, although he is still so crazy, his spirit is still so vigorous. Not to mention them, even the ghost demon opposite was confused. Not to mention him, a cultivator in the nascent soul realm, even if he is a monster in the god transformation realm or the refining void realm, he will also die of exhaustion of soul and spirit if he falls into the dream he created. After all, the great Tao is vast and infinite, but human power is limited. It is impossible for a cultivator to deduce the truth of the great Tao that contains infinite mysteries in such a short time. If you indulge in it, it will inevitably exhaust a cultivator's soul and blood, and finally die of exhaustion. If you toss in the dream for so long, someone else would probably have become a dried-up man. But this kid is not only fine, looking at his current state, how come he seems to be getting more and more energetic? In fact, at this time, if they could see the game panel in Su Fan's mind, they would definitely be stunned. On the game panel in front of Su Fan, dense Taoist texts were constantly refreshing on the transparent light screen. The scene at this time was like a computer programmer in his previous life, using computer language and development tools to write program codes. And Su Fan's state at this time was like a game player, looking at the infinite mysteries of various great ways derived from the game panel with great interest. Suddenly, the transparent light screen in front of Su Fan went black. This also made Su Fan, who was like a chicken blood, wake up from his crazy state all of a sudden. At this time, the scene in front of him also changed. The original vast and endless starry sky had disappeared, replaced by a vast sea. Su Fan actually broke the dream created by the ghost demon in a daze. What the hell? I was having a great time playing, why did you crash? Damn, the content in the ancient book of Heavenly Way just now was really too profound, and the game panel was completely down. Seeing Su Fan's confused look, all the people who were paying attention to him were also confused. The dream was broken just like that. What the hell is going on? Sister Zhen and Yaksha in the portable secret realm looked at each other. Master. Could it be that he broke the dream of the ghost demon? That's even necessary. Can a small broken dream stop the master? After hearing what Sister Zhen said, Yaksha curled his lips. You are so dare to say that. That was a dream created by the great demon in the Liangsu realm. Not to mention that the master is only in the late Yuanying realm. Even if the old monster in the Huishan realm falls into such a dream, he will definitely die. The evil Buddha Wangda was even more incredible. Although he is only a remnant soul now, he was also an evil cultivator in the fusion realm back then, and his knowledge was much stronger than that of the cultivators of this era. What on earth did this kid eat to grow up? And he actually saw through the dream created by the ghost demon. It is said that the dream created by the ghost demon is extremely dangerous, even for an old monster in the refining realm. Who would have thought that this kid could break it like this? At this time, even the big boss of the upper world of the Witch Gate frowned. If he had only seen through the dream, he would not be very surprised. After all, no matter how powerful the dream is, there are loopholes, and there are precedents for people who accidentally walk out of the dream. What shocked him was that Su Fan actually spent a whole day in the dream. This is not something that can be explained by a strong willpower. Even if your willpower is extremely strong, your consciousness and blood will not be endless. But now this kid's state, how can it be that his consciousness and blood are exhausted? It seems that this kid is not simple, and there must be many secrets on him. The little man in Su Fan's body also opened his eyes at this time, and a trace of solemnity was revealed in his deep eyes. But his eyes calmed down immediately, like a deep and mysterious pond without waves, and then slowly closed his eyes. The ghost demon opposite him had a look of surprise on his ugly face. Impossible, absolutely impossible. How could he, a small cultivator in the nascent soul realm, see through the heavenly Dao dream he created? Although this kid's willpower was extremely strong, he created several dream scenes, but none of them made him fall into them. Later, he simply created this dream of the mystery of the heavenly Dao. Any cultivator who is a little motivated will be addicted to it if he falls into such a dream scene. Although this ghost demon is just the incarnation of a clan leader in the upper realm, it not only inherited the magical powers of the ghost demon clan leader's bloodline, but also inherited most of the other party's memory. The dream of this heavenly Dao scene it created was actually inherited from the big boss of the ghost demon clan in the upper realm. Not to mention Su Fan, a small cultivator in the nascent soul realm. Even if it fell into this dream, it would also die of exhaustion of consciousness and blood. But this kid not only saw through the dream of this scene, but also persisted in the dream for a day, and after he came out of the dream, he looked fine. At this time, Su Fan had forgotten that he was in extreme danger, and all his thoughts were on the game panel in front of him. This thing will not disappear completely. I can get to where I am today, but it all depends on this thing. Boy, what are you still standing there for? Go up and kill it, brother, you King go up. At this time, the big boss of the upper world of the woman and the evil Buddha Wangda roared in his ears almost at the same time. It was not until this time that Su Fan came back to his senses. He glanced at the ghost demon opposite him, and the other's lizard-like eyes were shooting a gloomy and resentful look at him. The other's gaze once again enveloped him, but a blood-colored light shield suddenly appeared in front of Su Fan. At this time, the big boss of the upper world of the woman took action. He promptly set up a blood-colored barrier in front of Su Fan, helping him temporarily block the soul attack of the ghost demon and preventing him from falling into the other party's charm again. Su Fan was a little surprised. Did the woman upper world boss say that he couldn't resist the other party's charm? Boy, go and do it. Just when he was full of doubts, he received the idea of the woman upper world boss in his mind. Almost at the same time, Su Fan's figure disappeared on the spot. When he came to his senses again, he found that he had come to the vicinity of the ghost demon. However, Su Fan had an invisible and intangible barrier and his figure was bounced far away. The lizard-like eyes of the ghost demon opposite revealed a trace of contempt and disdain. A Yuanying realm minor cultivator, who gave him the courage to dare to face the Liangsu realm major cultivator. Even if the ghost demon clan's physical body is far inferior to that of other demon clans, it is not something that a Yuanying minor cultivator can easily shake. Even if he didn't move, he couldn't break the defense barrier of the refining void realm, even if he let this kid chop for days and nights. Su Fan barely stabilized his body in the air, his eyes condensed, and black smoke filled his body. In an instant, he turned into a ferocious demon body of more than 100 feet. Su Fan thought, and a black magic sword more than 10 feet long appeared in his hand. He held the sword tightly with both hands and was about to swing it, but suddenly there was a hint of enlightenment in his mind. Su Fan had just been in the heavenly Dao dream for a whole day, and he was not just standing there. Although those mysterious avenues were all deduced by the game panel, he was watching them all the time. Su Fan closed his eyes, and his mind kept repeating the scenes he had just experienced in the heavenly Dao dream. The endless mysteries of those avenues kept flashing in his mind. These years of life and death struggles, coupled with Su Fan's understanding of the 9 extreme continuous slashes for many years, are now accumulating and bursting, as if a layer of membrane was instantly pierced. Boom! There was a loud explosion in his mind, like a morning bell, cleansing his mind and inspiring deep thought. Su Fan suddenly opened his eyes. At this time, his temperament had completely changed. His eyes were calm, deep and indifferent. A glimmer of enlightenment suddenly rose from the bottom of his heart. The enlightenment of a cultivator is like the invisible and intangible moon in the water and the flower in the mirror. It is hard to tell when it will appear. But at this moment, Su Fan had been immersed in that dream of heaven for so long. This opportunity gave him a chance to have a sudden enlightenment. And the glimmer of inspiration in the depths of his heart began to hum and vibrate. Boom! The blood in his body began to boil, as if it was filled with endless power. Like a flood about to burst. The demon slayer sword in his hand also seemed to have life and was excited, and it actually sent a hint of attachment to him. Su Fan didn't even think about it and slashed it with his sword. Wujizan, a sword light was seen, like a meteor across the starry sky, rippling with the rhyme of Taoism, slowly spreading into the endless void. The faint sword light crossed the sky and the earth, but it was like the long flow of the long river of time, washing away all the lead. Swish! This sword was still silent and ordinary. It made people feel as if the sun and the moon rose in the east and set in the west, the stars moved, and the years changed. Endless cycle, endless and endless. But compared with the past, this sword has a little more power of the law that erodes the years. At this moment, the big boss of the woman upper world and the evil Buddha Wangda in the oil lamp magic weapon were looking at the sword light in the void with an unbelievable look. They are all high-level big bosses, and they have seen everything. But at this moment, Su Fan's sword still shocked them. This kid's sword could not be performed by a cultivator in the late Yuanying realm. Especially the sword light, which contained a trace of the power of the law that eroded the years. Not to mention the Yuanying realm cultivators, even the Huishan realm cultivators could not use it at all. Even many old monsters in the Liangsu realm may not be able to comprehend the true meaning of the law. What kind of monster is this kid? Did he get some opportunity in the dream just now? Not only the woman boss and the evil cultivator Wangda, but also the ghost demon in the Liangsu realm opposite at this time was also confused. Impossible, absolutely impossible. How could it be possible? How could this kid use such a sword? Boom boom, Su Fan waved his hand and turned out this sword light, which fiercely slashed on the invisible and intangible barrier. In an instant, it was as if an unimaginable horrible annihilation had occurred, and the invisible and intangible barrier suddenly exploded. The mysterious power of Tao and law generated by the terrifying aftermath of the explosion overturned the entire world like a tidal wave. The land and sky within a radius of more than 100 miles all trembled violently at this moment. Even the surrounding space seemed to be annihilated. The cracks in the dark sky spread like a spider web across the sky, and then were dissipated by the terrifying annihilation energy in the next moment. The sword light did not stagnate at all, but continued to roar and slash at the ghost demon on the opposite side. The ghost demon on the opposite side was also shocked. He never dreamed that Su Fan's sword would be so terrifying. Its lizard-like eyes suddenly condensed, and it quickly cast several barriers in front of itself. But even so, the sword light still cut through several barriers relentlessly. The ghost demon was frightened and kept retreating until the last barrier barely blocked the terrifying sword. Although the sword light was shattered, the last barrier in front of the ghost demon was also in danger, and it didn't last long before it exploded. Although he had slashed out with a sword move that could destroy the heavens and the earth, this sword also instantly consumed most of Su Fan's mana, blood, and consciousness. Not enough, far from enough. Su Fan knew in his heart that most of his mana, blood, and consciousness had been consumed, and in his current state he could no longer perform such a sword. And at this time, the ghost demon opposite him was fine. Su Fan felt an endless sadness in his heart. He was just a small cultivator in the nascent soul realm, but now he had to face a great demon in the refining void realm. He was indeed a little overconfident. Now he was trapped in the opponent's demon domain, and even if he wanted to escape, he could not escape the palm of the refining void realm demon. As long as the demon had a thought, he might destroy his soul. But no matter what, he couldn't give up. Damn it, let's die. Su Fan's eyes condensed, and his whole body suddenly surged with boundless blood. Boy, you don't want to die. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 829. Why bother so much? Let's fight. Seeing the strong blood-colored aura permeating Su Fan's body, the evil Buddha Wangda in the oil lamp magic weapon suddenly became anxious. Although he only had a wisp of residual soul left, he was very knowledgeable and saw at a glance that Su Fan had used the blood-exploding secret method. He had just sensed that after Su Fan used that sword, most of his mana, blood, and consciousness had been consumed. Now he used this blood-exploding secret method again to forcibly increase his strength. What's the difference between this and seeking death? If you die, you die, but I don't want to die with you. Su Fan also fought hard. At this time, he had no choice but to use the blood-exploding secret method. But he regretted it as soon as he used this blood-exploding secret method. At this time, Su Fan's blood and ki were boiling, and began to rush wildly in his body. Bang! Bang! The violent riot of blood and ki even broke his body into cracks. This is fucking. Su Fan never thought that this blood explosion and burning secret method would be so fierce. However, the effect of the secret method is indeed extraordinary. At this time, all aspects of his body data are also growing rapidly. Even his huge demon body, which is more than 100 feet long, has expanded a circle. Moreover, the whole body is filled with a strong bloody smell, and his momentum has become more terrifying compared to just now. Not only that, at this time, Su Fan's mood began to become more and more irritable, and a wave of violent emotions rose in his heart. This is fucking. Su Fan never thought that this blood explosion and burning secret method would actually affect his mind. This is the end of the cow. He felt that he was deceived by the big boss of the woman upper realm. This old guy didn't say that it would affect his mind. If he can't control it, it will make him possessed. Anyway, he is in a desperate situation, and it is still uncertain whether he can survive. Why bother so much? Just fight. At this moment, Su Fan was filled with a breath of destruction, and the invisible and intangible terrifying momentum spread, sweeping across the world in an instant. Ouch! Su Fan's eyes were red as blood, and he roared towards the sky. Boom! A thick blood mist exploded all over his body. Endless blood mist rushed into the sky, spinning wildly around Su Fan, and instantly formed a terrifying red storm. The blood-red storm, like a tidal wave, swept up all the seawater within a radius of hundreds of miles. Countless trembling sea beasts hidden under the sea were also swept up by this terrifying blood-red hurricane in an instant, and then were swept into this terrifying torrent like fallen leaves. Countless huge sea beasts were torn to pieces by this terrifying blood-red storm, raising blood mist all over the sky. This violent blood-red hurricane was just the beginning, and the following extremely terrifying killing aura began to spread around. An extremely fierce and violent aura suddenly rose to the sky, and a mighty force that could destroy the world was slowly brewing. Then, The time of the whole world seemed to have stopped, and an extremely angry and indescribable sadness gradually spread to the surroundings. Sufan's eyes became more and more red like blood. He had already performed a blood explosion and burning secret method, and the blood in his body had already boiled and exploded. Now all kinds of negative emotions such as sadness, annoyance, sadness, anxiety, inferiority, depression, pessimism, despair, etc. kept flashing in his mind. Sufan's evil thoughts entered his body in an instant, and he had fallen into an extremely violent and crazy state. Awoo! His demonic body of more than 100 feet roared to the sky again, and the evil power like a tide suddenly swept out. This terrifying sound was heard from a long distance, with a faint low wail, a gloomy breath and a fierce killing intent. His evil thoughts continued to spread around, starting with a radius of dozens of miles, then hundreds of miles, and finally thousands of miles. Even the sea beasts in the sea thousands of miles away began to become irritable and began to bite each other frantically. The entire sea area had turned red, and endless blood rose up, and then was instantly swallowed by the blood-colored storm. The scarlet terrifying hurricane became more and more violent, and the sea surface gradually formed a huge vortex with Sufan as the center. The vortex turned faster and faster, and became larger and larger, slowly forming a bottomless terrifying vortex with a radius of hundreds of miles. Swoosh, swoosh, at this moment, huge phantoms came from all over Cultivation in an instant. The commotion caused by Sufan was too big, and the high-level leaders of the human race and the sea race who came from all over Cultivation came here one after another. They looked at the terrifying storm in the distance, and their faces became solemn. Especially when they saw the ghost demon in the refining realm, they all became uneasy. A big man in Cultivation waved his hand and set up a barrier, covering the sea area of 10,000 miles where the two were fighting. Although they were all big men in the refining void combination realm, they didn't want to participate in this fierce battle between the two. Not to mention the evildoer with the devil's seed, the identity of the other refining void realm ghost demon was not simple either. He was the clone of a big man in the upper realm of the ghost demon clan who was parasitic in the body of an evil cultivator. With their cultivation level at this level, of course they didn't want to be involved in these messy causes and effects. So they just hoped that these two guys would leave Cultivation as soon as possible after the fight. At this moment, Sufan had accumulated endless momentum, and the endless resentment in his heart had resonated with the heaven and earth. It even affected the sea area of tens of thousands of miles. At this moment, this sea area was like a boiling pot, and countless sea beasts were becoming crazy and violent. Swish, Sufan slashed down with a fierce sword, and the resentment and sorrow that had been accumulated in his chest seemed to be vented out all at once. This raging slash passed through the void, slashing down with a strong law power. Unlike the previous rage laws, this time the law contained a terrifying destructive force. At this time, a sharp sword light flashed, carrying a majestic murderous aura, whistling through the void. The high-level leaders of the human race and the sea race around Cultivation all stared at the flash of sword light. This sharp sword light, with the mysterious power of the law, the terrifying destructive power seemed to split the whole world in half. The space within a radius of 10,000 miles became distorted. And the invisible ripples of the sword light continued to oscillate in all directions, whistling down in front like a tidal wave. The vast horror had a destructive force that could turn mountains and rivers upside down, and it overturned the whole world. The sharp and boundless terrifying sword light instantly cut the entire space into pieces, and everything it passed was turned into dust. The storm island reef not far away was also swept into it by this destructive force. The islands and reefs covered by the space storm disappeared in an instant, and the space cracks that were originally scattered in the depths were also swept away. As the terrifying sword light swept across, the countless large and small reefs of the original Storm Island reef no longer existed, leaving only a space crack that spanned thousands of miles. From then on, Cultivation no longer had a place called Storm Island Reef. At this moment, the ghost demon opposite was also full of fear, although it was already in the realm of refining emptiness. But when it saw this terrifying sword light slashing down, it inexplicably felt a sense of crisis in its heart. It has been parasitic in the body of the evil cultivator and has not yet fully grown. If the evil cultivator had not died, it might have continued to sleep in his body for a long, long time. Now there is no way, it can only forcefully condense a demon body, but except for the magical powers and memories inherited from its real body, it has no magic weapon in its hands. This ghost demon immediately activated its body protection magic power and set up several barriers in front of itself. It also reluctantly broke a piece of its magic bone, instantly cast a spell to sacrifice it into a body protection magic weapon, and then turned it into a huge bone shield floating above its head. Although it was unwilling to admit it, it knew very well in its heart that the boy's sword would definitely bring it a serious threat. Boom! With a loud sound that shook the world, the terrifying sword light slashed fiercely on the invisible barrier, and a huge explosion that destroyed the world instantly broke out. The extremely majestic destructive aura almost shattered the void, and the space was like a mirror with ripples, and dense spider web-like cracks spread all over the sky. The aftermath of the explosion formed a world-destroying annihilation force, sweeping around like a terrifying hurricane, swallowing everything within a radius of 10,000 miles. Sufan's sword also left a trench that spanned 10,000 miles in the sea area. Anyway, the sea creatures under this sea area are in bad luck. Now there is almost no life within a radius of 10,000 miles. The several protective barriers set up by the ghost demon were instantly chopped and exploded like paper. The bone shield suspended above its head was also fragile and turned into powder. Sufan's sword light, which carried the law of rage and contained a trace of destructive power, instantly passed through the body of the ghost demon. The sword cut the opponent in half with one sword, almost splitting half of its demon body, and the demon blood splashed everywhere and rushed into the sky. Seeing that the ghost demon was split by a sword, Sufan couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Finally, this guy was killed. The sword that just slashed out had almost consumed his blood and magic power. If he continued to fight, he would have no strength left. Boy, go ahead and kill it, you don't have much time. At this time, Sufan heard the thoughts of the big boss of the Woman Upper Realm again. He had seen that the ghost demon had used the disintegration magic. This big demon is not dead yet, its breath is still there, hurry up and kill it. The evil Buddha Wangda also lay on the barrier of the oil lamp magic weapon and roared at him loudly. Although the ghost demon opposite was cut in half by a sword, it did not die. Because it activated the innate disintegration magic of the ghost demon clan in time, and at the cost of abandoning part of the demon body, it was able to preserve part of its vitality. Sufan never dreamed that the sword that just destroyed the world could not kill the ghost demon. At this time, the explosive blood-burning secret method he activated was about to end. Sufan gritted his teeth, and his body flashed with blood. His figure had appeared dozens of miles away, and he saw that the ghost demon a few miles away, with only half of the remaining demon body still standing there. His eyes condensed, and a demonized gray bear phantom hundreds of feet tall instantly rose behind him. Shongshan Ko, Sufan's body was filled with red blood light, and his demonic body swelled a little more. The demonized ancient gray bear phantom hundreds of feet tall behind him exuded a vast and boundless sense of oppression that went straight to the heart. Sufan brought with him a powerful and terrifying impact force, and the surrounding red sea of blood was also swept into it. It was as if a surging sea of blood was set off, turning into a tsunami like a mountain and sea, rolling towards the ghost demon. Although the ghost demon on the opposite side used the magic power of disintegrating the sky demon and survived by chance, it had lost most of its vitality, and its strength was only 1/100th of what it had just been. Facing Sufan's demonized body of more than 100 feet, it just bumped into it so unreasonably, and it could only try its best to condense a barrier in front of itself. Boom boom boom, under the powerful and brutal impact of Sufan's demon body of more than 100 feet, the invisible barrier set up by the ghost demon was shattered. His demon body of hundreds of feet did not hesitate at all, and slammed into the remaining half of the opponent's body, instantly knocking the opponent flying. Vajra demon slaying handprint. At this time, a golden Buddha rose into the sky behind Sufan, and with a sound of Sanskrit chanting, it suddenly burst into an extremely dazzling golden light. An unimaginable huge Buddha's palm suddenly appeared in the air. At this moment, the world was vast, and the terrifying golden Buddha's palm almost covered the entire sky. It was mighty and suppressed the sky and the sky. The entire sky seemed to be covered by this terrifying golden Buddha's palm, and there seemed to be a mysterious chaotic air between the boundless fingers and palms. With a huge Buddha's palm that covered the sky and the sun falling from the sky, it seemed that an incomparable destruction had descended. The space collapsed and all things were shattered. The whole world was in a state of dismay, and the surrounding seas were suddenly hit by a tsunami. The golden Buddha's palm, which covered the sky and the sun, came down from the sky with boundless and terrifying power. Like a towering mountain falling on the sea. Boom boom, With a terrifying roar, the mighty power that destroyed the world almost overturned the vast sea. A tidal storm that spread across the sky and the earth was rolled up in the air, and a visible airflow swept in all directions. The remaining half of the demon body of the ghost demon was also hit by the golden giant palm and was immediately slapped into the seabed. At this moment, Su Fan could no longer support the demonized body that was more than 100 feet high, and instantly turned into a human body. His eyes went dark, and he fell from the sky to the sea, and then he knew nothing. At this time, a blood-colored light column suddenly fell from the sky, and Su Fan and the corpse of the ghost demon instantly disappeared from the sea. Chapter 830. Are you kidding me? That's Su Fan. As soon as Su Fan disappeared from the spot, a group of high-ranking bosses from Zhao came over. This brat, he ran away really fast. He was teleported away by the one above the Wu sect. He is a disciple of the Taoist sect. How can he be so close to the Wu sect? This kid has no roots and no wings, and he has provoked you family members. What do you want him to do? Zhao Haitian and his group of high-ranking bosses silently looked at the Red Sea area of 10,000 miles. The high-ranking old monsters of the Sea Clan all looked unhappy, because this was all the blood of the Sea Clan. Although they were just some low-level sea beasts, there were still some human clan bosses around, and they were a little embarrassed. Even the high-ranking bosses like Zhao Haitian couldn't help but be shocked when they saw Su Fan's sword just now. Even if they were in the nascent soul realm and the god transformation realm, if they met this kid, they would still be crushed to death by him. After all, he is a monster with a demon seed. It is said that every person chosen by the demon sect boss is a disaster star that brings disaster to one side. These high-level bosses in Zhao Haitian now only want to catch that kid and drive this scourge out of Zhao Haitian. He can't stay here any longer, otherwise he might cause trouble. Fellow Taoist Songhui, aren't you studying divination as a minor? Find that kid quickly and let him get out of here. I just calculated once, and his aura has been blocked. Why does that guy who pretends to be a ghost help this kid so much? Does he want this kid to be his son of God on this world? That kid has a demon seed. How can he be his son of God? Okay, disperse, go back and keep an eye on that kid. As long as you find his trace, let him get out of Zhao Haitian immediately. The group of bosses in Zhao Haitian dispersed one after another, and this Red Sea area suddenly became quiet. It was unknown how long it took before Su Fan slowly opened his eyes. Hiss, a sharp pain attacked from all over his body, and it was like a needle piercing his brain, making him throb with pain. Su Fan felt as if his whole body was torn into pieces, as if all his organs were broken. You are really a tiger. There is no decent secret method in the Wu sect, and you dare to use it. At this time, the evil Buddha Wangda in the oil lamp magic weapon placed next to him teased him. Su Fan smiled bitterly, then sat up from the ground with a grin. Then what do you say? You can't just wait to die? It's just you. Your body is stronger than the demons. If it were someone else, you would have found a place to bury it long ago. Su Fan used his spiritual sense to scan his body and found that his injuries were much better than he thought. Of course, if he wanted to recover completely, it would take at least 1 or 2 years. Especially since his soul was overdrawn too much, it would definitely be very slow to recover. Fortunately, his cultivation foundation was not damaged, otherwise he would cry to death. What the hell? I didn't expect that I would be unconscious for so long, but he immediately understood that the coma process might also be the body's self-recovery. Where are we now? Who knows where that old guy teleported you to? You can rest assured and recover. He has spared no expense to set up a blood formation for you, which can temporarily block your aura. No one can find you now. After hearing what the evil Buddha Wangda said, Su Fan frowned immediately. How could that big guy from the upper realm of the Witch Gate suddenly be so willing to invest so much? He would not be so kind before and had always been fair to him. Seeing his puzzled expression, the evil Buddha Wangda curled his lips. It was because of the 2 swords you used that frightened him? Nonsense. No matter what, he is still a big guy from the upper realm of the Witch Gate. It is estimated that a powerful cultivator of the same level as the witch god Aju would never take the 2 swords he used seriously. Don't disbelieve me. I just want to make a good relationship with you because I see your potential in the future. Even I was scared by your 2 swords. At this point, the evil Buddha Wangda sighed. By the way, you have obviously fallen into the dream created by the ghost demon. How did you break the dream? And, how did you toss around in the dream for a long time and still nothing happened? Oh, Su Fan really didn't know how to explain these things. He couldn't tell this old man that he had a game panel to help deduce the way of heaven. I said, I don't know, do you believe it? After hearing Su Fan's words, the evil Buddha Wangda looked like he was thinking, are you taking me for an idiot? Speaking of the game panel, Su Fan quickly thought about it, and a transparent light screen appeared in front of him. But the game panel was still frozen, and there was nothing on it. Su Fan couldn't help but cover his face. This is the end of the matter. What should I do in the future? Master, you're awake. At this time, Sister Zhen floated in from outside. Seeing Su Fan wake up, she rushed over excitedly, tears falling down. I'm fine, but no matter what he said, Sister Zhen kept crying. Later, Su Fan had no choice but to say that he was hungry. Sister Zhen wiped her tears and went out to prepare food. You kid, such a good girl, you are not tempted. If you don't want it, eh? Before the old man finished speaking, Su Fan glared at him. Get out, what are you thinking about? In the following days, Su Fan stayed in the secret realm to recuperate. What he didn't know was that the news that he killed more than 1,000 elite cultivators of various races in the Storm Island Reef spread throughout the entire cultivation world in a short time. The news exploded as soon as it was spread. When everyone heard the news, their first reaction was to disbelieve it. How could it be possible? There were more than 1,000 elite cultivators in the God Transformation realm, and any one of them was the pride of various major clans, families, and tribes. Su Fan was only a cultivator in the late nascent soul realm, and any one of them could crush him. But when the details of this incident slowly spread, everyone was silent. It was reasonable for Su Fan to kill more than 1,000 elite cultivators of the God Transformation realm from various tribes in the Storm Island Reef. After all, it was through blood sacrifice that he asked the big boss of the upper realm of the woman to help him set up a 9th level 9 yin reversal soul bloodlight array of the woman. He led those people into the array and let them kill each other to death. But later, the 4 evil cultivators in the refining void realm also died in his hands, which was a bit too fantastic. Even if these evil cultivators were weak, they were still cultivators in the refining void realm. In the entire world of cultivation, it is not uncommon for a cultivator in the nascent soul realm to cross levels and kill a monster in the God Transformation realm. But there was a difference of 2 major realms, and it was a case of crossing levels and killing a monster in the refining void realm. It is absolutely unprecedented, and there is a great possibility that it will never be repeated. Although many people do not believe this, the bigwigs of Jiaoheishan have stood up and personally confirmed this matter, which makes it impossible for others not to believe it. This is a bit scary. Su Fan once again created a record that defied the heavens, and now his fierce reputation has resounded throughout the world of cultivation. Of course, after this incident, he can be said to have enemies all over the world in this world. Those who were deceived by him into the 9 yin's inverted soul bloodlight array to kill each other, no matter which one, their identity and background are not simple. The people Su Fan offended this time are so many. Anyway, from now on, he dare not use the name Su Fan again. Although few people dare to accept the reward, selling his information to others can also get a lot of rewards. In the next few months, people from various star fields came to Jiaoheishan's Nanshan Island. Every day, cultivators of various races go to the vicinity of the Storm Island Reef in the hope of finding their fellow disciples, clansmen and tribesmen. Unfortunately, the Storm Islands and Reefs no longer exist. Now it has become a huge space crack, and the thousands of islands and reefs have been reduced to dust. The sea area that has been dyed red did not gradually fade until several months later. And many years later, there will be no life under this sea area, just like a dead sea. The Forgotten River Palace and the Celestial Clan also sent people to Nanshan Island. The result was of course nothing. Su Fan seemed to have evaporated from the world. Even the most accomplished monks of the divination Dao could not find his trace. And the bounty bonus was not withdrawn. Later, many people found the Forgotten River Palace and anonymously increased the amount of the bounty bonus. It is said that the amount of the reward for this bounty bonus is now dozens of times the original amount. But even so, there are only a few monks who want to get involved in this matter. Even some of the evil cultivators in the refining void realm who were ready to make a move, when they learned that several of their fellows had died at the hands of Su Fan, all of them stopped. Although the bounty bonus is coveted, no matter how much the bonus is, you have to live to get it. What a joke, that's Su Fan. So now the main force chasing Su Fan is still the bounty killers of the Forget River Palace and dozens of elites from the Celestial Clan sent by the Celestial Clan. Since the celestial clan met Su Fan, the entire clan seems to have bad luck. There are at least 800 elites who died directly or indirectly at his hands. How many people are there in the entire celestial clan? And these dead clan members are all seed cultivators in the entire celestial clan. Of course, the most abundant thing in this world of cultivation is desperate criminals. Although no one seems to pay attention to this bounty bonus. It is said that some people have secretly started to form a group and prepare to brush this task together. After all, this bounty is indeed enviable, and there are many people who are willing to take a chance for the bonus. Su Fan's recovery from his injury was much faster than he expected. It hadn't even been a year, but his injury had almost healed. In the evening, the sun set. The clouds in the sky were scattered, reflecting the red sunset, and transmitting a dreamlike light. On the shore of the island, Su Fan was lying on a recliner, quietly admiring the blood-red glow on the sea level in the distance. There was a table next to him, and the teapot on the red clay stove had already boiled, emitting steam. There was an oil lamp on the table, and the evil Buddha Wangda was also lying on a recliner like him, being served comfortably by several little ghost slaves. "Why are you still standing there? The water is boiling." Hearing the reminder from the evil Buddha Wangda, Su Fan reluctantly got up from the recliner, brewed a pot of spiritual tea, and then poured himself a cup. He had been recovering from his injuries during this period, and he couldn't do anything anyway, so he would come to the beach to sit for a while every day. Now, except for the damage to his soul, which has not been fully recovered, the injuries in his body are basically fine. There is no way. The injury to the soul is the most difficult to recover, and there is no good way. You can only patiently calm your soul and recuperate. And during the period of recuperation, try not to use your brain, and don't even have some unnecessary thoughts. Fortunately, after more than a year of calming the soul and recuperating, Su Fan's soul is now more than half recovered, and he can already activate his consciousness. But the consciousness cannot be completely released, and the activation time cannot be too long, and the strength of the exertion cannot be too strong. Su Fan picked up the teacup and took a sip. He was about to put down the teacup when he was suddenly stunned. As soon as he thought about it, a transparent light curtain appeared in front of him, and it was constantly flashing. Su Fan stared at the game panel, and after a while, the long-lost picture finally appeared on the transparent light curtain. He breathed a sigh of relief, and was glad that the game panel was back. It took a full year to restart the game panel. Maybe in the last dream, the knowledge of various avenues was too complicated and vast, and even the game panel could not bear the massive amount of information. So the system of the game panel automatically started to upgrade, and it was not until today that the system restarted. Looking at the game panel in front of him, Su Fan couldn't help but frown. He found that the appearance of the transparent light screen was no different from before. Su Fan studied it for a long time, and then he found a not very obvious page-turning arrow in the upper left corner of the transparent light screen. He gently clicked the arrow with his mind, and the appearance of the transparent light screen changed suddenly. On the second page of the game panel, all kinds of knowledge about the way of heaven have been summarized. The various knowledge about the way of heaven on the transparent light screen has been deduced by the game panel and systematically sorted out. The infinite and mysterious changes of various avenues, the birth and death of the heavens and the worlds, the changes of yin and yang, the cycle of life and death, the rotation of the 5 elements, and other 3,000 avenues are all included. Not only is it very convenient to read, but also a detailed catalog is made for Su Fan to search at ordinary times. Su Fan only read a few pages, and was attracted by the various heavenly knowledge on the game panel, and subconsciously immersed in it. He read for a full hour, until his head slightly hurt, and he closed the game panel. Now the injury of the soul has not been completely healed, it is better not to indulge in these things at this time, which will help the recovery of the injury. What happened to you just now? At this time, the evil Buddha Wangda in the oil lamp magic weapon next to him suddenly asked. Su Fan hurriedly said, "It's okay. I just remembered some things about cultivation." Wangda curled his lips, obviously a little unconvinced. This kid has a lot of secrets hidden in him, and it seems that he is also a person with extraordinary opportunities. Chapter 831, Ruai Pavilion is indeed a black shop. Su Fan's injuries have almost healed, and now it's time to find a way to leave Zhao Haitian. The woman upper world boss told him clearly that the secret method he arranged to conceal the secrets of heaven can only be hidden somewhere. As long as a person moves, the effect of the secret method will be invalid, and those divination monks may find his trace. Moreover, The Wangchuan Palace has arranged a large number of spies in Zhao and it is not so easy to leave Zhao Zhao is not safe for Su Fan, and this must be the focus of the Wangchuan Palace. Although the secret method launched by the Wuman upper world boss can temporarily conceal the secrets of heaven. But this is the world of cultivation, and all kinds of mysterious and strange secrets emerge in an endless stream. Who knows if the Wangchuan Palace will find this place in the future? So we must find a way to leave Zhao as soon as possible and find a safe place to hide incognito. Unfortunately, Su Fan is not familiar with Zhao at all, and he doesn't even have a way to smuggle. Under normal circumstances, if you want to travel between planes, the monks must show their identity jade cards, and they must have someone to guarantee them. Su Fan can use the secret method of the demon sex blood path to change his identity, but this situation may be able to get away with it in other occasions. But if he were asked to take a flying boat to the airport of those big cities, he would not dare to gamble. Su Fan sighed, turned his head and looked at the evil Buddha Wangda in the oil lamp magic weapon next to him. Do you think I should leave Zhao Haitian? Do you still need to ask? You should have left a long time ago. If you stay any longer, the Frigate River Palace will find you sooner or later, but I don't know how to leave Zhao Haitian. That's easy. As long as you show up now, the big guys in Zhao Haitian will take the initiative to send you away. This is a way, but Su Fan doesn't trust those old bastards. They might send him away and then sell him out right away. At this time, his heart suddenly moved, and then he sent a thought to the big guy in the upper realm of the Wu sect. Senior, can I trust Ruai Pavilion? It is said that Ruai Pavilion's business is almost all over the 3,000 worlds. Who do you think you are? Well, Su Fan felt that he really took himself too seriously. He smiled bitterly, then took out a microarray disk from the ring and input a trace of spiritual energy. Su Fan activated the microarray disk, and a transparent light curtain popped up instantly. As soon as the light curtain popped up, a line of handwriting appeared on it. Do you need any help? Oh my. It is worthy of being called Ruai Pavilion. The surface is indeed very comprehensive. Does Kin you stand in front of the light curtain every day? I want to leave Zhao Haitian and go to other planes. Do you have any ideas? You are our iron plate customer. You only need to pay 500,000 spirit crystals, and we will arrange a flying boat within 10 days to send you to where you want to go. This is fucking. Ruai Pavilion is really a black shop. But they are black, but they can really get things done. No problem, come pick me up. Please tell me your current location. Su Fan hesitated for a moment, but finally made up his mind and reported his current location. Just like what the Wuman upper world boss said. Ruai Pavilion has business in so many worlds, how could it ruin its credibility and reputation for such a trivial matter? Ruai Pavilion is really awesome. After only 5 days, a Starfield flying boat came to the sky above the island. Su Fan boarded the flying boat and found that there was no one on it, and even the control room of the flying boat was locked. The flying boat is not big, with only a dozen cabins, but each cabin is decorated extremely luxuriously. Su Fan found a cabin at random and pushed the door and walked in. He sat cross-legged in the hall of the cabin, and then put the oil lamp magic weapon next to him. You haven't decided where to go yet. After hearing the words of the evil cultivator Wangda, Su Fan was worried and his head hurt. He has been studying for several days, but he doesn't know the situation of each star field. Why don't you ask Ruai Pavilion? They won't cheat you, will they? You know what Wangda, the evil Buddha, said. As the two were chatting, the miniature array plate on Su Fan's waist began to vibrate slightly. He took off the array plate, activated a light curtain, and saw a line of words appear on it. You have boarded the boat, right? Where do you want to go next? Do you have any places to recommend? Based on your current situation, we recommend 3 places for you. You can consider it carefully and tell me in 2 days. By the way, this flying boat is equipped with an array to isolate the secrets of heaven. You don't have to worry about your whereabouts being leaked. After all, it is Ruai Pavilion. Although it is a black shop, the service is indeed thoughtful. At this time, a bunch of words appeared on the transparent light curtain, all of which were detailed information about the 3 places. It is estimated that Ruai Pavilion has already selected a place for him when it took over his business. A few years later, Mokyu Star Region, Zuanayangshan. In the early morning, a brilliant light suddenly appeared in the distant sky, revealing a large area of white, and the whole earth was awakened from its slumber. Su Fan walked on the street of Kinshifangshi, and greeted several familiar cultivators from time to time. He walked into an alley in the market, came to a shop, pushed the door and walked in. "Boss, good morning." Seeing Su Fan coming, a young cultivator in the key refining period greeted him with a smile. He smiled and nodded at the other party, then came to a room behind the shop and sat cross-legged on the couch. Su Fan left Cultivation through Ruai Pavilion and came to Zuanangshan in Mokiu Star region. Anyway, he had chosen to believe in Ruai Pavilion, so he did not change places, and directly found a beautiful place in Zuanangshan to settle down. The reason why our Ruai Pavilion recommended Zuanangshan to him was that compared with other star regions, Wangchuan Palace had little influence in Mokiu Star region. According to Qin Yu, the killer organizations in this world of cultivation also have their own spheres of influence. Mokiu Star region is not the traditional sphere of influence of Wangchuan Palace, so it is relatively safe. Of course, it is only relatively safe. Su Fan has been in this King Shifeng city for 2 years. He still found an evil cultivator to occupy the nest as before. Not only did he inherit the other party's identity, but also inherited his shop, and settled down in King Shifeng city. Su Fan used the corpse of a cultivator in the refining void realm to make a deal with the big boss of the Wuman upper realm. As long as he does not leave this King Shifeng city, the other party will help him cover up the secrets of heaven, and even the most powerful masters of divination will not be able to find his trace. As for whether Wangchuan Palace can find him in other ways in the future, it is hard to say. There is no way. Since he pitted so many gods in the Storm Island Reef and Chaohatian, Su Fan's enemies have spread all over the world of cultivation. Countless sects, families, and alien tribes want him dead, especially the celestial race, who can't wait to eat him alive. As long as the bounty bonus issued by the Wangchuan Palace is not withdrawn, Su Fan will never have peace. Whenever he thinks of this, Su Fan is very angry. But things have developed to this point, and he can't control it. He can only take it one step at a time. Okay, let's do whatever he wants. Anyway, with his current reputation, even those super large and high-level families dare not provoke him easily. As long as he doesn't go out, at least he is safe for the time being. Fortunately, Su Fan is quite satisfied with his current life. King Shifeng City is very quiet, and the surrounding mountains and rivers are beautiful. Zuanangshan's spiritual resources are very rich, and there is no shortage of various cultivation resources. Even in a remote small market like King Shifeng City, the lives of casual cultivators are acceptable. So the days here pass very slowly, and even the conflicts and fights between casual cultivators around the market rarely occur. Isn't this the place Su Fan has always dreamed of? Moreover, he made a fortune in Chaohatian and seized a large number of spoils from the more than 1,000 cultivators of various races in the God Transformation realm. Anyway, at least for the next few hundred years, Su Fan can achieve financial freedom. And before he left Chaohatian, he risked being discovered and went to the territory of the Sea Clan again. He traded with a patriarch of the tiger-striped demon shark, Shark Yanchuo, and cleared all the sun essence stones in his hands. Not only did he exchange for many rare materials unique to the Sea Clan, but he also got a lot of corpses of Sea Clan monks, all of which he placed in the Juan secret realm. In the future, the Wangchuan Palace may find him again one day, so he prepared more materials for blood sacrifice and tried his best to be prepared. Even the shipfare of the Ruai Pavilion this time, Su Fan used the ransom of those people in the Wangchuan Palace. With his current situation, there will definitely be a lot of places where the Ruai Pavilion will be needed in the future. So he is not going to take back the remaining ransom for the time being, and simply use it to pay the service fee of the Ruai Pavilion. Anyway, he was not short of money to spend. All kinds of rare and top-grade cultivation materials, such as talismans, elixirs, Taoist instruments and treasures, refining materials, alchemy herbs, etc., were almost piled up into a mountain. Su Fan's shop in the King Shifeng market mainly sold some low-level cultivation materials. He did not expect to make any money from the shop. It was mainly to cover up his identity, and he would go to take a look every few days. In the past 2 years, Su Fan was not idle. Every day, he would use the dragon elephant swallowing yuan training blood mysterious art to carry out the third round of tempering of blood. The third round of tempering of blood by the dragon elephant swallowing yuan training blood mysterious art takes longer, and it will take several years at least. Although the time for tempering blood has increased, the effect will definitely double. Not only that, Su Fan also swallowed the blood essence of the ghost demon in the body of the refining virtual mirror. What he did not expect was that after the ghost demon's blood essence was tempered by the dragon elephant swallowing Yuan training blood mysterious art, it actually brought him a big surprise. Not only did Su Fan's soul grow a lot, but he also inherited the charm of the ghost demon. It's just a pity that the ghost demon clan's ability to create dreams was not inherited by him. Maybe with a continuous tempering of Su Fan's blood and ki, he might inherit this magical power in the future. Of course, swallowing the blood and ki of the ghost demon, coupled with the third round of tempering, there are side effects. Su Fan felt that he had become more Teddy than Teddy. Even when Sister Jen was in front of him, he would instantly turn into half-orc. In addition to tempering blood and ki, Su Fan would use the game panel to study and figure out the knowledge about the Way of Heaven in his spare time. The dream of the Way of Heaven created by the ghost demon was actually the memory it inherited from its real body. That was the method of the ghost demon clan's upper world boss. Although it was just a dream, the knowledge of the Way of Heaven in the dream was real stuff. Such a profound and complicated theory of the Way of Heaven, even the high-level monsters in this world may not be able to understand it. With Su Fan's current realm and knowledge, facing the knowledge of the Way of Heaven deduced and sorted out by the game panel is like reading a heavenly book. Although he can't understand many profound things at all, it is undeniable that these things will definitely be of great help to his future path. Especially after 2 years of research and speculation, Su Fan feels that his understanding of the power of law is much better than before. Now if he meets that ghost demon again, if he uses the explosion blood-burning secret method, he can definitely end the battle with one sword. Su Fan drank a cup of tea in the room inside the shop, then left the shop and returned to his residence in the market. His residence is a very secluded courtyard with only 3 main rooms. The hall, bedroom and study are very simple and elegant, and there are only a few wooden furniture in the rooms. In fact, he doesn't live here at ordinary times. He usually stays in the secret realm with him, tempering his blood and studying the knowledge of the Way of Heaven every day. Su Fan walked into the yard, casually set up a formation, and then came to the hall in the house. Just as he was about to enter the portable secret realm, the microarray disc on his waist vibrated slightly. Su Fan took off the microarray disc from his waist, picked it up and took a look. Devours, someone found our Ruai pavilion and hoped to contact you. Seeing the words on the light screen, Su Fan frowned immediately. How do they know that I am your client? This is no longer a secret. But please rest assured that Ruai Pavilion will never sell out the information of customers. Can I know who is looking for me? The person who hopes to contact you is from another assassin organization, and is also the mortal enemy of Wangchuan Palace, Huangquan Tower. When he saw the words on the light screen, he was immediately confused. What the hell? Why is Huangquan Tower looking for me? Do you know why they are looking for me? I don't know about that. They want to have a face-to-face meeting with you. If you don't want to meet with them, I will immediately refuse them. Forget about a meeting. Who knows why they are looking for me? However, his intuition told him that this Huangquan Tower had no ill will towards him. Forget about the face-to-face meeting. If they want to talk to me, then let them go through you. Okay, I will arrange it for you. Su Fan put away the microarray plate, then sat cross-legged in the hall, frowning and thinking. Chapter 832. Don't you want to hear our terms? Su Fan thought for a while, then took out the oil lamp magic weapon and told the evil Buddha Wangda what had just happened. No matter how great this guy was, he was once a big boss in the fusion realm. It would be right to discuss everything with him. Moreover, the two of them are now grasshoppers tied to the same rope, and the evil Buddha Wangda will definitely not harm him. I don't know what Wangchuan Hall and Huangquan Tower are, but from what I hear, these two killer organizations should be mortal enemies. Seeing Su Fan nod, the evil Buddha Wangda thought for a while. Then contact the people of Huangquan Tower and see what they say. I guess the reason why this Huangquan Tower wants to meet you should be a little bit of a showdown with that Wangchuan Hall. Su Fan agreed with the words of the evil Buddha Wangda. In fact, he thought so too. Then contact them. Anyway, there is no need to meet the people of Huangquan Tower. At worst, they will never have any contact with each other in the future. The next morning, Su Fan had just finished tempering his blood, and the microarray plate on his waist vibrated slightly. He took the microarray disc off his waist and then injected a trace of spiritual energy. Bang! With a muffled sound, a transparent light screen appeared in front of Su Fan, with a line of handwriting on it. Devours, I contacted the Huangquan Tower and they agreed to your request. I set the time for the two parties to contact each other in an hour. Well, I know. An hour later, Su Fan, who was sitting cross-legged in the hall, had the microarray disc on his waist vibrate slightly. He glanced at the evil cultivator Wangda in the oil lamp magic weapon next to him, and then activated the light screen of the array disc. I am Zooming, the external affairs steward of the Huanquan Tower. I am sorry for coming here in a presumptuous way. You know you are being presumptuous. I am Su Fan, just say what you want to say. It's like this, we hope that Ao can join the Huanquan Tower. You can pull a few strings. The Huanquan Tower actually let him join. I don't want to be a killer. Sorry, I appreciate your kindness, but I don't want to be a killer. Seeing that Su Fan wanted to end the call, the other party hurriedly said another sentence. Ao, please listen to me, then go ahead. I'm listening. Ao, you don't have to be a killer if you join our Huanquan Tower. You can be a flash gold hunter. You only need to accept one mission within 10 years, and you can use the rest of your time freely. Although bounty hunters are freer than killers, Su Fan has no interest at all. Forget it, I'm used to being free alone. Ao, don't you want to hear our conditions? Why didn't you say it earlier? Are you playing extreme tug of war with me here? Say, Su Fan's patience was almost exhausted, and he didn't want to talk nonsense with this guy anymore. Ao, I know you are in a difficult situation now. If you join Huanquan Tower, we can take over the troubles of Wangchuan Palace for you. Su Fan sneered and sent a message. I just want to know why you are helping me like this. Tell me the truth, don't say those useless things. After Su Fan sent this message, it took a long time for the other party to reply. Let me be frank. Wangchuan Palace has always been the mortal enemy of our Huanquan Tower. As long as it can make them unhappy, we are willing to get involved. You just said this, and you still call it human. Wouldn't it be over if you said it earlier? You have been hesitating for a long time. I want to hear how you Huanquan Tower can help me solve the troubles of Wangchuan Palace. A few years ago, Wangchuan Palace issued a bounty bonus for you. Now they are in a difficult situation. Of course, we don't want them to complete this bonus. Hearing the other party say this, Su Fan also understood the motives of Huanquan Tower to help him. In fact, it was almost the same as he guessed. What Lao Guo said was absolutely right. The hatred between colleagues was naked. Next, Zhu Ming told Su Fan about the years of grievances and hatreds between the two killer organizations. It turns out that the Wangchuan Hall and the Huanquan Tower have been mortal enemies for many years. It is said that the grievances between the two sides can even be traced back to tens of thousands of years ago. In the past 100 years, the Huanquan Tower has been declining, while the Wangchuan Hall has developed well, and once suppressed the Huanquan Tower. This time, the Wangchuan Hall issued a bounty bonus, which caused a sensation in the entire cultivation world and stole the limelight for a while. Seeing its mortal enemy's unlimited glory, the Huanquan Tower could only grit its teeth and do nothing. Who would have thought that the Wangchuan Hall would encounter the monster Su Fan? I thought they could easily take the bonus, but they kicked it on the iron plate. The 3 bounty hunter teams of the Wangchuan Hall and more than 1,000 elite monks of various races were all stewed by Su Fan at the Storm Island Reef in Zhaohaitian. This also made the Wangchuan Hall, which was in a booming momentum, lose its reputation all of a sudden. Although the Wangchuan Palace has drawn a large number of elite assassins and bounty hunters to try to surround and kill Su Fan again. Unfortunately, after a few years, they have not even touched the shadow of Su Fan. In a place like a killer agency, it doesn't matter if an assassination fails once, but it must not fail again and again. Especially since the Wangchuan Palace has also issued a bounty bonus. If Su Fan is not killed as soon as possible, no one will be willing to give them business in the future. At this time, the Huanquan building will certainly not miss this opportunity to make things difficult for the opponent. Therefore, the senior bosses of the Huanquan building spent a huge amount of money to contact the senior executives of the Ruai Pavilion in the hope of contacting Su Fan. Just to be able to contact Su Fan this time, the Huanquan building spent a lot. But if you can really take advantage of this opportunity to severely hit the arrogance of the Wangchuan Palace, this little money is nothing. Putting aside other things, the Huanquan building feels that its business has obviously improved a lot in recent years. Even many of the big businesses are from the former customers of the Wangchuan Palace. The reason is that the Wangchuan Hall suffered a big setback in Zhaohaitian, and lost a lot of big customers, which made the Huanquan building take advantage of it. So before Zhu Ming came, the senior management of the Huanquan building ordered him to recruit Su Fan into the organization. Even if Su Fan made some excessive requests, they should try their best to agree to him. Devours, as long as you join our Huanquan building, we will arrange everything properly and will never let the Wangchuan Hall find you. Even if we find you, we will make them come and go without return. Looking at the message sent by Zooming, Su Fan turned his head and glanced at the evil Buddha Wangda in the oil lamp magic weapon next to him. Boy, I think you should join the Huanquan building, at least it's better than you hiding here and they're alone now. Su Fan took a deep breath and laughed at himself. I didn't expect that I would be a killer one day. Okay, then join the Huanquan building. Anyway, his situation is already very bad, how much worse can it get? If you want me to join the Huanquan Tower, you have to agree to my 2 conditions. Seeing that Su Fan agreed, Zooming's reply was quick and straightforward. What conditions are there? Just tell me, we will try our best to meet them. First, the mission of the Huanquan Tower every 10 years must be chosen by me. Second, I don't want others to know my identity. Even if he was a bounty hunter in the Huanquan Tower, he had a bottom line and didn't want to kill those innocent people. In addition, he didn't want others to know that he had joined the Huanquan Road. He always felt that this kind of killer organization was a bit shameful. I can agree to these 2 conditions now. I will help you prepare an identity. In the future, we will have a single line of contact. Except for me, no one in the Huanquan Tower will know your identity. Originally thought that Su Fan would ask for a lot and put forward some harsh conditions. Who would have thought that he would only put forward these 2 conditions? Although the tasks of the bounty hunters of the Huanquan Tower are all arranged by the organization. But everything can be flexible. This is nothing. Anyway, there are so many tasks, let him pick whatever he wants. As for Su Fan not wanting others to know that he joined the Huanquan building, that's even less of a problem. Killer organizations like the Huanquan building are organizations that have been hiding underground for many years. Bounty hunters in the organization are fine, at least they can go out and meet people, but those killers can only hide their names for many years, and almost no one knows their true identities. Seeing the other party's reply, Su Fan breathed a sigh of relief. Since the other party agreed to his 2 conditions, he had nothing to say. Joining your Huanquan building, do you need me to do anything? You don't have to worry about anything, I will arrange everything properly, just wait for my news. Looking at the handwriting on the light screen, Su Fan sighed. If he had any way, he would not join the Huanquan building. After all, this is not a serious place. Boy, just be content. The profession of killer has existed since ancient times, and there were many in our time. Besides, you are not a killer, but a bounty hunter. Maybe it was influenced by his previous life that made him very resistant to the profession of killer. Moreover, this is the world of cultivation. No matter if you are from the immortal sect, the demon sect, or the scattered cultivator, you are at least a cultivator. But what about a killer? In Su Fan's eyes, there is no essential difference between a bounty hunter and a killer. In the following days, everything was calm. Su Fan stayed in the secret realm with him every day to temper his blood. In his spare time, he would ponder all kinds of knowledge about the way of heaven in front of the game panel. Every few days, he would show his face in the shop of King Shifangshi and then walk around in the market. There was no way. The secret method arranged by the big boss of the upper world of the Witch Gate could only cover up the secrets of this small place. Once you leave the King Shifangshi, it would not work. It took several months for Su Fan to receive the message from Zooming. He did not hide it and told the other party where he was in the King Shifangshi. A few days later, Su Fan came to the shop of King Shifangshi early in the morning. This time, he did not drink tea in the room behind the shop as he did in the past. Instead, he sat behind the counter and took out an ancient book to read. In the morning, an ordinary-looking foundation establishment cultivator pushed the door and walked into the shop. The Kigan cultivator in the shop hurriedly greeted him. "Senior, welcome to our store." The foundation establishment cultivator nodded, took out a jade slip from his ring and placed it on the counter. "Do you accept the inheritance of the skills here, Senior? Can I take a look first?" Seeing the other party nod, the Kigan cultivator took the jade slip and handed it to Su Fan behind the counter. "Boss, please take a look first." Su Fan put down the book, took the jade slip from the shop assistant's hand, and then placed it on his forehead. After a while, he put down the jade slip and took a look at the foundation establishment cultivator. "The inheritance is not bad. 5 spirit crystals. Our store will take it. 5 is too little. 10 is the minimum, 6, at least 8, or I won't sell it." Su Fan looked up at the other party, then nodded, took out 8 spirit crystals from his ring and handed them to the other party. The foundation building cultivator put away the spirit crystals and turned to leave the store. Su Fan glanced at the other party's back, picked up the jade slip, told the shop assistant, and then went into the room behind the store. The whole transaction process was normal, no different from the daily transactions in the store. Su Fan went into the back room and sat cross-legged, then put the jade slip on his forehead and looked at it for a while. The jade slip was indeed a set of skills inheritance, but some information was hidden in the middle part, and others could not see any clues at all. Su Fan wrote down the information in the jade slip and put it down. The foundation building cultivator just now was just a person who is responsible for running errands outside the Huangquan Tower. According to Zooming, this person didn't know who the consignee was, and didn't even know which organization he belonged to. He was only responsible for running errands and delivering goods. Although the Huangquan Tower has been declining year by year, a lean camel is still bigger than a horse. The organization is very tight, and the intelligence agencies have long been spread throughout the world of cultivation. Su Fan drank a cup of spiritual tea in the room behind the shop, and then left the shop calmly. He came to the street of Qinshifangshi. His hand hidden in his robe sleeve moved slightly, and the jade slip had turned into powder and then scattered on the streets of Fangshi. The information hidden in the jade slip was a route planned for him by Zooming. The next day, Su Fan left Zuanangshan, and after several twists and turns, he took a Starfield flying boat to fly away from Mokyu Starfield and embarked on a long journey. This journey was quite long, but he had someone to meet him wherever he went, which was a green light all the way. He also got a set of profound secrets that could conceal the secrets of heaven, as well as several new identities. Moreover, this identity can definitely withstand investigation and can be used directly no matter where you go. After more than a year of running around, Su Fan finally met Zooming, the steward of Huangquan Tower, in an inconspicuous small market. Chapter 833. Then he has to go to heaven. Su Fan came to the outside of a market town and walked in. This market town was not big, with only a main street several hundred meters long, and the shops on both sides were quite shabby. Su Fan came to the outside of a restaurant, looked up at the plaque above, and then walked in. The waiter of the restaurant saw him coming in and hurriedly came to greet him. "Senior, how are you? I'm looking for someone." The waiter's eyes lit up when he heard it, and then he led him to a private room behind the restaurant without saying a word. It's called a private room, but it's actually the kind that is surrounded by a few boards. Su Fan pushed the door and walked in, and saw a person sitting inside. The other party was wearing a green robe and looked to be in his 40s. Although his face was ordinary, he was very friendly and was the kind of person that people could easily like. Seeing Su Fan coming in, Zooming stood up and bowed to him. "Devours, we finally meet. You are so ashamed to say that. I have been tossing for more than a year just to see you." He also smiled and nodded, then bowed in return. After exchanging a few pleasantries, the two sat down separately, and Zooming poured him a glass of spiritual wine. "Devours, we meet for the first time. I offer you a glass." He raised his glass and drank it all, then put down the glass. "Devours, I have already arranged everything for you. I will take you to a place after dinner." Zooming finished speaking, took out a jade talisman from his ring, and placed it in front of Su Fan. "This is your identity jade talisman. Drop a drop of blood on it later, and you will be a member of our Huangquan Tower in the future." Su Fan picked up the jade talisman in front of him and looked at it carefully. The jade talisman was whitish in color, 2 inches long and 1 inch wide, with some simple runes engraved on the surface, which looked inconspicuous. He sighed secretly. "I am on a pirate ship." The two had a simple meal, and then Su Fan followed Zooming out of the market. After a few more months of tossing and turning, they finally arrived at the destination of this trip, the 7-star sky in the Lujao Star region. This place is similar to the Mokyu Star region, both of which belong to the traditional sphere of influence of the Huangquan House, and the power of the Wangchuan Palace is very weak here. Of course, if the Wangchuan Palace receives the business here, it can still do what it should do. It's just that it can't keep up with intelligence and support. How could the Huangquan House allow other killer organizations to take root in its traditional sphere of influence? The intelligence system of the Wangchuan Palace in Lujao Star region and Maoyu Star region will be destroyed by the Huangquan House as soon as it emerges. Even if Su Fan's whereabouts are exposed, the bounty hunters sent by the Wangchuan Palace dare not come in a big way, and can only besiege and kill him secretly. But if too few people are sent, it will be a delivery for Su Fan. If more people are sent, It will attract the attack of the Huanquan house, so he is absolutely safe here. The Lanayu Fairy City is located in the northeast of Qixingtian, and the nearby Lanayu Fairy Palace is also a super large group that can be ranked in the entire Lujiao Star region. The place Zhu Ming arranged for Su Fan was a store in the city of Lanayu Fairy City. The name of this shop is Xiankao Pavilion, which mainly deals in various magic weapons and puppets, and its branches are almost all over the world of cultivation. In the following days, Su Fan became a Yuanying realm weapon maker of Xiankao Pavilion. In addition to completing certain tasks every month, the rest of his time is at his disposal, and his life is very comfortable. Moreover, the intelligence agency of Huanquan Tower in Lanayu Fairy City does not know Su Fan's identity. Not only them, but even in Huanquan Tower, there are no more than 10 people who know Su Fan's identity. Su Fan did not live in the residence provided by Xiankao Pavilion for him, but rented a small courtyard in the city. Even that small courtyard was just to cover his daily entry and exit of the secret space, and he rarely stayed overnight in the small courtyard. The weapon-making task of Xiankao Pavilion was not a big deal for Su Fan, and it only took a few days every month to complete it. The rest of the time, Su Fan would stay up day and night to use the dragon elephant swallowing yuan training blood mysterious art to temper the blood in his body. In his spare time, he would use the game panel to study and ponder the profound knowledge of the way of heaven. In the early morning, the sky gradually dawned. The pale blue sky was inlaid with a few remaining stars, and the earth was hazy, as if covered by a layer of silver-gray gauze. The eastern sky had already slightly revealed a fish belly white, and a trace of red as if it was soaked in blood was rendered in it. Su Fan sat cross-legged beside a clear pond, performing the dragon elephant swallowing yuan training blood mysterious art to temper the blood in his body. After a while, he slowly opened his eyes and then exhaled a long breath of turbid air. The third round of blood tempering was finally completed, which took nearly 10 years. It was too difficult. In the oil lamp magic weapon next to Su Fan, the evil Buddha Wangda was slumped on the recliner and asked with a smile. "Your third round of bloodline tempering is complete." Su Fan laughed and said, "Finally, it's done. It's not easy for me. How is the effect of the third round of bloodline tempering? The strength of the body has at least doubled, and the soul has also increased by nearly 30%. He laughed and said, "This is nothing. I feel that there are some things in my brain. I should have inherited the magical powers of the demons." Looking at Su Fan, who seemed to be injected with chicken blood, the evil Buddha Wangda curled his lips. "When you were in the state of demonization, people would believe that you were a demon." After hearing what this guy said, Su Fan knew that he was jealous of him. When he activated his demonized body, it was not only the evil Buddha Wangda who envied and hated him, but anyone who had seen the demon body of more than 100 feet would be shocked and stunned. Not to mention the human cultivators like them, even the demon cultivators were confused when they saw it. Can this be considered a human race? Su Fan used the dragon elephant swallowing essence and refining blood mysterious art to complete the third round of blood tempering, and his physical strength has more than doubled. With his abnormal physical strength, it is very difficult to increase it a little bit. And this is just the beginning. Every time the blood is tempered, there will be a period of continuous growth, which takes about 1 or 2 months. According to past experience, during this period of continuous growth, the physical body can almost double. Not only will the physical body grow significantly, but even the soul can grow by 50% to 60%. You must know that after a cultivator breaks through the nascent soul realm, the most difficult thing to grow is the soul. Even a slight increase is extremely difficult. Moreover, Su Fan has only completed the third round of blood tempering by practicing the dragon elephant swallowing essence and refining blood mysterious art. If he waits until he completes the 9 rounds of tempering in his blood, he will be in heaven. I had a game today, so I came back a little late. I rushed to write a small chapter of 2,000 words. There will be another small chapter tomorrow morning. Please forgive me. Chapter 834. The little girl only knows how to be tough. Su Fan and the evil Buddha Wangda chatted, and the topic of the two people came to various avenues. Although in the dream created by the ghost demon, the game panel helped him deduce the mysteries of cause and effect, life and death, yin and yang, chaos, destruction, extinction, 5 elements, 4 images and other avenues. And interpreted the infinite mysteries contained in various changes such as yin and yang changes, impermanence of life and death, and the circulation of the 5 elements. In order to sort out this vast amount of information, the game panel was even forced to restart. although the mysteries of these avenues have been systematically sorted out after the game panel was restarted. But even so, Su Fan has been studying these avenues for nearly 10 years, but it is still like reading a heavenly book. He knows in his heart that it is impossible to fully understand these things. Human power will eventually be limited, and one cannot shake the sky with one's body. Su Fan was grateful that he could intercept an avenue from the 3,000 avenues and condense a magical seed in his lifetime. As for the other mysterious avenues, they can only be used as references. Although only a remnant of the evil Buddha Wangda is left, he was once a great master in the fusion realm, and his understanding of the avenue must be much deeper than his. So in recent years, he has been sitting and discussing the avenue with the evil Buddha Wangda, and discussing the avenue issues together. Originally, the evil Buddha Wangda didn't want to talk to him about these things. In his opinion, a small cultivator in the nascent soul realm doesn't know much about the avenue. No matter how much I am a big master in the fusion realm, sitting and discussing the avenue with a small cultivator in the nascent soul realm, isn't that nonsense? But who would have thought that he would never have thought that this kid actually had dry goods in his stomach? Many of the views put forward by Su Fan even made him understand something after listening to them, which also shocked him very much. How could he know that Su Fan was cheating? Although he didn't understand a lot of the avenue knowledge in the game panel, or even knew nothing about it. But the evil Buddha Wangda could understand it, and Su Fan's random words could make him think for a long time. Over the years, Su Fan has also made a lot of money from this old man. Because of this, the relationship between the two has become much closer than before. Now he carries the magic oil lamp wherever he goes. Although people like the evil Buddha Wangda are not easy to make friends with, fortunately, the two are now grasshoppers tied to the same rope. At least for many years to come, this old man is still trustworthy. Anyway, the evil Buddha Wangda certainly does not want Su Fan to die. The two were sitting and talking when they saw Sister Zhen floating in from outside. "Master, it's time to eat." Su Fan heard it and came to the courtyard of the thatched cottage with a magic oil lamp. At this time, the dining table was already set. The steamers on the dining table were stacked high, and there was a large iron pot for porridge next to it. Looking at the plates and bowls on the table, I thought I had entered a breakfast snack bar. Now Su Fan's appetite has not increased as much as before, but his breakfast can also match the appetite of dozens or hundreds of families. Su Fan sat at the dining table, and Sister Zhen brought him a large bowl of spiritual rice porridge. "Master, drink it while it's hot. This is the lotus seed and red date spiritual rice porridge that I cooked for most of the night. I haven't slept all night." After saying this, Sister Zhen hugged Su Fan's arm and leaned her head on his shoulder, looking like a punching bag. "You are a ghost, what the hell are you sleeping for?" But Su Fan didn't say anything. He knew that this was Sister Zhen acting cute, so he could only touch her head and comfort her. "I'm happy today. You can make some hard dishes tonight, and I'll have a good drink." After hearing Su Fan's words, Sister Zhen suddenly became excited. "Then I'll go prepare it now. I have to pick up some spiritual materials in advance." Now Su Fan is very wealthy, so no matter where he goes, he will purchase all kinds of top-quality spiritual ingredients at any cost. This also makes Sister Zhen pay attention to high-end luxury when cooking, and it can even be said to be extravagant. Now Sister Zhen has to have more than a dozen little ghost slaves to help her when she prepares a table of spiritual food. How could this girl remember the bitter past and think of the sweet past? Su Fan didn't worry about these things, just let her do whatever she wanted, as long as she was happy. "It's just money, I have plenty of it." He really wasn't bragging, not to mention the nascent soul cultivators of the same level. Even those old monsters in the god transformation realm were not as rich as him. The evil Buddha Wangda in the oil lamp magic weapon next to him glanced at Sister Zhen's back and couldn't help curling his lips. "How can you spoil a ghost slave like this, making me want to be your slave? You can pull a few more. For someone like you, I don't want you for free. I am a nostalgic person. She has been following me since the key refining stage, and now she is like a relative of mine." After hearing Su Fan's words, the evil Buddha Wangda felt very jealous. If the people he met at the beginning were like this kid, he would not have taken the evil path. But then again, if he didn't practice the evil way, I'm afraid he would have turned into a pile of yellow earth long ago, and I don't know where he would be buried. "She's so nice, why don't you accept her?" After hearing what the old man said, Su Fan couldn't help rolling his eyes. "I just treat Sister Zhen as a sister, but you always want me to sleep with her. I don't want to play the game of love between a human and a ghost. This old Biden is just bored. Aren't you tired? There are so many little ghost slaves around you to sleep with you every day, and you can still be so energetic. Are you free and have nothing to do? Su Fan stopped paying attention to the old man after he finished speaking, and ate breakfast by himself. The evil Buddha Wangda blinked his eyes, feeling very unhappy. He entered the evil way at a very young age, and his mentality had long been twisted beyond recognition. He couldn't stand others being better than him. The more Su Fan disagreed, the more he wanted this kid to give in. The evil Buddha Wangda leaned back on the recliner, closed his eyes and thought for a while, and then sent a thought to Sister Zhen. Girl, why haven't you taken down this guy yet? Oh, what are you talking about? He is the master, how can I? After receiving Sister Zhen's thoughts, the evil Buddha Wangda curled his lips. Just tell me if you want it or not. I want it, no, although I really want the master to pity me, but that also requires the master to be happy. The little girl knows how to be stubborn. Obviously, she wants it so badly in her heart, but she doesn't want to admit it, just like your dog who is more like a bear than a master. I thought I could help you, but you don't want to, so forget it. Senior, I'm not, the evil Buddha Wangda sneered, and then sent a thought to Sister Zhen. In the evening, Sister Zhen prepared a whole table of spiritual food and vegetables, which was almost as rich as the banquet of the wealthy families of the Cultivation family. Su Fan was also very satisfied with the feast, and couldn't help but feast on it, eating until his belly was full. In order to complete the third round of tempering of his own bloodline, he endured for nearly 10 years. Today, the work was finally done. Su Fan was of course very excited. He drank the spirit wine as if it was free. He even forgot how much he drank. Su Fan was completely blacked out. He didn't even know how he fell asleep. He only remembered that he had an erotic dream at night. He slept until noon the next day, and then slowly opened his eyes. Su Fan rubbed his swollen and painful temples, sat up from the couch, rubbed his face vigorously with both hands, and then sat cross-legged to practice Kigen to eliminate the effect of the alcohol. Puff, he exhaled a long stream of alcohol, and the rich alcohol condensed into a sharp sword light, which penetrated a thatched cottage in an instant. It's not right. Why am I wearing a robe, and there is nothing on inside? Thinking about a vivid dream he had last night, Su Fan couldn't help but cover his face. This is bad. Chapter 835, Vajra Deliverance Great Sunwheel Sutra. Su Fan sat on the couch in a daze, and it took a long time for him to come back to his senses. He began to recall slowly. Although he had drunk too much last night, he was still strong and could still remember some things. That realistic dream was actually what really happened. The more Su Fan thought about it, the more he felt something was wrong. How could that damned girl Sister Zhen have such a scheme that he was deceived without knowing it? You don't have to guess, you know, it must be that old bitch who instigated it. At this time, a handsome little ghost slave walked in from outside, then knelt on the ground and kowtowed to him respectfully. Master, Aunt Zhen just told us to come and serve you when you get up. Aunt Zhen. That damn girl is now considered an aunt. Where did she go? Aunt Zhen went deep into the secret realm. The damn girl ran fast. It was obvious that she was hiding from him. Until now, Su Fan has not accepted that he and Sister Zhen had tossed all night. She is a ghost, how can I? Actually, although Sister Zhen was born as a lonely ghost, she has practiced the ghost way for many years and has become the same as the ghost monks of the demon sect. Other cultivators in this world of cultivation have to call her a fellow Taoist when they see her. In addition, Su Fan invested regardless of the cost. Sister Zhen broke through the Ghost King realm many years ago, and her strength is equivalent to the Golden Elixir realm ghost monks of the demon sect. So Sister Zhen's original pure ghost body is almost real. Anyway, from the experience in the dream last night, Su Fan did not feel any difference. The only difference from other women is the body temperature, which is relatively cool. However, this has no effect on Su Fan. Since he practiced the dragon elephant swallowing yuan training blood mysterious art to temper the blood in his body, he feels like a ball of fire every day. And Su Fan feels that his temper is becoming more and more irritable, and he has been forcibly restraining himself all these years. In addition, he feels that his desires are getting bigger and bigger, and he is simply a human teddy bear. Although the fusion of the blood of the foreign demon allowed him to greatly increase his strength, he would also be affected by the demons. There was no way. This was the price he had to pay for swallowing the blood of the foreign demon. However, Since Su Fan had rolled together with Sister Jin last night, he felt that the fire in his body had been extinguished. Anyway, Su Fan's current state was unprecedentedly comfortable. And he felt that the violent emotions that he had been suppressing in his heart were gone at this moment. Although Sister Jin was a ghost cultivator, she was born as a ghost after all. The yin energy in her body was extremely pure, and even Gu Qinghuan, who had an extremely yin body, did not have such pure yin energy. In fact, in this world of cultivation, human ghost love, or human demon love, is not a taboo. As long as you don't play human demon love, no human cultivator cares about these things. Humans and ghosts are different, that's only said to mortals. But even so, Su Fan still couldn't get over the hurdle in his heart. In his previous life, his three views had long been established, so how could he accept such a thing out of the blue? But now that things have come to this, Su Fan can't just abandon her after having an affair. Thinking of this, he couldn't help but sigh secretly. What the hell is going on? You go down first, I don't need you to serve me here. Su Fan sent a little ghost slave away, and came to the pond outside the thatched cottage, and coldly glanced at the evil Buddha Wangda in the oil lamp magic weapon. At this time, this guy was leisurely lying on the recliner, surrounded by a group of little ghost slaves, serving him very comfortably. Su Fan walked over and sat cross-legged by the pond, looking at him with a smile. How was it last night? It was great, it was great. It seems that his guess was right, this matter is definitely related to this old bitch. Are you idle every day? Seeing that Su Fan seemed to be really angry, the evil Buddha Wangda laughed. I'm doing this for your own good. After he said that, he saw that Su Fan was still staring at him coldly, and this guy immediately got angry. Although the relationship between the two is relatively good now, the evil Buddha Wangda has no confidence at all. This kid changes his attitude faster than turning a page of a book. If he really turns against him, he will definitely throw the oil lamp magic weapon into the ring. He doesn't want to live that kind of life anymore. There is no one to talk to. It's not as comfortable as it is now. Every day, there are a group of little ghost slaves serving him. It's simply a life like a god. Boy, I'm really doing this for your own good. You swallow the blood of the big demon. Although your strength has increased a lot, if you don't find a way to get rid of the evil thoughts in your body, in the end you may not even be able to tell whether you are a human or a demon. At this point, the evil Buddha Wangda glanced at Su Fan's face. Your ghost slave is a ghost body entering the Tao. The two of you practice the way of harmony. Although it can't completely get rid of the evil thoughts in your body, it can greatly alleviate your situation. But this alone is not enough. I happen to have a Buddhist Heart Sutra in my hand, which is just right for you. You don't need to tell me this, don't I know it? If it were someone else, he might really do what this guy said, but this situation is not a big deal for him. He practiced the heavenly demon saint body art, which is the most ruinous technique in the entire world of cultivation. No matter which level of the technique, one has to go through the gates of hell. Others practiced for immortality, he practiced for life, and now he has survived the 6th level. The sufferings and dangers that Su Fan has suffered are not as much as those faced by other cultivators in several lifetimes. Therefore, his swallowing and fusion of the blood of the foreign fusion realm demon will definitely have an impact on him, but it also allows him to easily resist the influence of the inner demon. Su Fan glanced at the evil Buddha Wangda in the magic weapon with a lamp. This guy was looking at him with a flattering face. Okay, for the face of you providing him with a technique, I won't argue with you. What is the Heart Sutra you are talking about? Let me see it. Seeing that Su Fan's tone had softened, the evil Buddha Wangda was relieved and quickly taught him this Buddhist Heart Sutra with his mind. Su Fan took a look at this Buddhist Heart Sutra, which is called Vajra Deliverance Great Sunwheel Sutra. He tried to read it through, but didn't feel any effect. Boy, don't underestimate this Buddhist scripture. When you encounter a spiritual attack, reciting the Buddhist scripture can be very useful. Then how do you practice this Buddhist scripture? You can't just recite it over and over again. What do you think? Isn't the Buddhist scripture like this? What the hell? Su Fan closed his eyes and recited the Vajra Sutra of the Sun Wheel over and over again. He recited it for more than 10 times, but still didn't feel anything. In the future, whenever you feel irritable and have violent emotions in your heart, recite this Buddhist scripture. When you have nothing to do, take time to read it a few times every day. I'm not in a good state today. I'm a little stuck. I'll post a short chapter first, and then post another chapter tonight or tomorrow morning. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 836 How Can Such a Good Thing Happen? Despite the repeated recommendations of the evil Buddha Wangda, Su Fan did not care much about Buddhist scriptures such as the Vajra Sutra of the Great Sun Wheel. In his opinion, this kind of thing is no different from the Heart Sutra and Great Compassion mantra of Buddhism in his previous life. This old man was just afraid that he would be angry, so he just took out a Buddhist scripture to deal with him. However, it is indeed as the evil Buddha Wangda said. Now he often feels bored and irritable, and often has a trace of violent emotions in his heart for no reason. Although this happened when he just swallowed the blood of the foreign fusion realm demon. However, it is not comparable to now, and with the passage of time, those side effects have gradually faded. But since practicing the dragon elephant swallowing yuan training blood mysterious art and starting to temper the blood in the body, this feeling seems to have returned. Especially after the third round of tempering of the blood, Su Fan's emotions began to become more and more irritable, and the male desire became stronger and stronger. Su Fan knew in his heart that these were all side effects caused by purifying the blood of the great demon in his body. That was a trace of the blood of the foreign fusion realm demon. How could it be possible that being swallowed by Su Fan and then continuously tempered was without a price? At this time, it is indeed time to pay attention. This is only the third round of blood tempering, and the purified foreign demon blood has caused such a great impact on him. There are still 6 rounds of blood tempering in the future. If you don't make plans now, you may not be able to tell whether you are a human or a demon, just like the evil Buddha Wangda said. Okay, then keep it. Whether it is useful or not, just talk about it every day, just treat it as a psychological suggestion. And since the night with Sister Zhen, the troubles caused by the demon blood in his body have disappeared without a trace. It seems that the old bastard Wangda is right. The yin energy in the body of the monk who has entered the Tao is the purest and most untainted, which does have a great effect on alleviating his violent mood like a raging fire. Anyway, we have rolled together, so let's keep rolling. Although that girl has low qualifications, her body has pure yin qi, which is definitely an excellent furnace. It will help you a lot in your current situation. After hearing the words of the evil Buddha Wangda, Su Fan frowned immediately. This old man is so good at talking, he really deserves to be the old evil demon. In the eyes of these evil cultivators, they don't regard female cultivators as human beings at all, but only as furnaces to improve their cultivation. In the following days, Su Fan continued to practice dragon elephant swallowing yuan training blood mysterious art. Now the powerful side effects of the great demon blood in his body have already appeared. If he rashly carries out the 4th round of blood tempering, his physical condition is likely to be beyond his control. So let's talk about it slowly, and wait until the side effects of the great demon blood are completely stable. In the following days, Su Fan stopped practicing, and sat and talked with the evil cultivator Wangda by the pond every day. He would also take some time every day to recite the Vajra Deliverance Day Unlan Sutra. If Su Fan was given another wooden fish, he would really become a monk. Of course, it still didn't work at all. Su Fan felt more and more that the evil Buddha Wangda was bragging, but he had no evidence. However, since he started to recite this Buddhist scripture every day, Su Fan's mood would be very calm, so he did not stop, just as if he was cultivating himself. Since the last night, Sister Zhen has never shown up again. She sent a dozen beautiful little ghost slaves to serve his food in daily life every day, hiding outside and not daring to come back to see him. This dead girl, after causing trouble for me. Bah. After seducing me, you disappeared. How could such a good thing happen? Thinking of this, Su Fan took off the communication array from his waist and sent a message to Sister Zhen. You dead girl, where have you been? After a long time, Sister Zhen replied with a message. Master, I'm very busy now, I will go back in a few days. Sister Zhen replied a message, and then disappeared, letting Su Fan send several messages without replying again. Su Fan was so angry that his liver hurt. This damn girl, I spoiled her too much in the past. When she comes back, I must give her a good beating. Su Fan put away the communication array disk, stood up from the couch, and then left the portable secret realm. He came out of the rented yard and came to the Kikiao pavilion. As a weapon maker of the Kikiao Pavilion in the nascent soul realm, he only needs to refine a few magic weapons every month to complete the store's tasks. Today is the beginning of the month. Every time at this time, he will go to the Kikiao Pavilion to take on a few weapon-making tasks. Su Fan came to the Kikiao Pavilion, greeted the guys at the door, and then came to his weapon-making room. He sat down and just brewed a pot of spiritual tea for himself, and there was a knock on the door outside. "Come in." Hearing his words, a giant and cultivator in his 30s pushed the door and walked in. Disciple Xing Rui, meet Master Song Hao. Song Hao is the name of Su Fan's current identity, and Xing Rui is a deacon of the Kikiao Pavilion. Su Fan smiled and said, "Come and sit down, have a cup of tea with me." Xing Rui and Su Fan are quite familiar with each other, and he usually contacts him on behalf of the store. He came over and sat down cross-legged, took the cup of spiritual tea handed over by Su Fan, and then took a sip. "Senior, it has to be your spiritual tea here, it tastes so good." After he said that, he put down the teacup, took out a jade slip from his ring, and handed it to Su Fan with both hands. "Senior, take a look at the few businesses that the store just received this month." Su Fan took the jade slip and placed it on his forehead. After a while, he selected a few magic weapons and returned the jade slip to Xing Rui. "This month, I will take these few." Xing Rui took the jade slip. He hesitated for a moment, but in the end he did not speak, and then put the jade slip into the ring. Seeing that the other party was hesitant to speak, Su Fan frowned immediately. "Just say whatever you want to say, why are you hiding it from me?" Xing Rui chuckled and said, "Senior, among the several weapon-making tasks you have accepted, one is ordered by an elite disciple of the Lan Yu Fairy Palace in our store. This guy is not easy to serve, and he has made trouble in the store before." Su Fan hesitated for a moment, but after thinking about it, he didn't care too much. "It's okay, let him make trouble if he wants to. If he is not satisfied with a magic weapon I refined, then I will accept it myself. Anyway, a magic weapon is not worth that much spirit crystal, so at most he will just admit his bad luck. He doesn't need those few cents." After hearing what Su Fan said, Xing Rui cupped his hands quickly. "Then please bear with me, senior. To be honest, next month is the Lan Yu Taoist Palace's centennial competition. The store has received many orders from them. These disciples from the big sects are not easy to deal with." Chapter 837. They are not the same kind of people. Xing Rui chatted with Su Fan for a while, and then he left. After a while, a clerk in the shop brought over a storage ring, which contained the materials for making several magic weapons. In addition, there were also various requirements for the magic weapons that the customers who ordered the magic weapons had customized. Su Fan's foundation in making tools was already good, and he had been immersed in the Kikiao Pavilion for so many years. Now his attainments in making tools are no longer what they used to be. The magic weapons he received were all Taoist tools customized by Yuanying realm monks. One of the customers had a very strange request. This strange customer asked the Kikiao Pavilion to refine a top-grade Taoist tool for him. Even the most skilled masters in making tools dare not guarantee that every magic weapon they refine is top-grade. To get a top-grade magic weapon, you must have the right time, right place, and right people. That's not all, you must also have a little bit of luck. Only with the above conditions can you have the possibility of refining a top-grade magic weapon. Su Fan smiled bitterly and shook his head. He thought it was another spoiled disciple from a big sect who had never experienced any setbacks. This kind of disciple from a big sect who had rarely left the mountain and was used to being the king in the mountain gate, had no idea of the depth of the world. His biggest criticism of the Xi'an sect was that the Xi'an sect protected its disciples too well. Many disciples of the big sects with extraordinary talents were defeated by evil cultivators with inferior qualifications. Although the disciples of the Xi'an sect did not need to let their disciples risk their lives like the Sword sect and the Demon sect, they should at least let them go out and experience some experience. Okay, let's start with a magic weapon customized by this strange disciple. In the next few days, although Su Fan had been away from the Kikiao Pavilion weapon-making room, he had already entered the portable secret realm. There was a top-grade earth fire in his portable secret realm, which was much stronger than the fire-gathering formation in the weapon-making room of the Kikiao Pavilion. He was able to live safely in the Kikiao Pavilion until today, and the top-grade earth fire in the secret realm was definitely indispensable. Half a month later, Su Fan finally came out of the weapon-making room. He was lucky and successfully refined a top-grade Taoist weapon for the strange disciple of the Lan Yu Fairy Palace. Su Fan handed over several magic weapons to the Qi Kiao Pavilion, then returned to his small courtyard in the city, and then entered the portable secret realm. In fact, these magic weapons had been successfully refined long ago. He had been staying comfortably in the portable secret realm, but he just came out of the weapon-making room of the Qi Kiao Pavilion today. When Su Fan returned to the secret realm, he came to the pool next to the thatched cottage and sat cross-legged next to the oil lamp magic weapon. At this time, only the recliner was left in the lamp holder, and the evil Buddha Wangda went to fool around with a gang of little ghost slaves again. Seeing him coming back, the two little ghost slaves quickly floated over from a distance and brewed a pot of spiritual tea for him. Su Fan picked up the teacup and took a sip, then glanced to the little ghost slave opposite. "Has your Aunt Jen come back today?" "No, Aunt Jen has been busy at the construction site in the main city." The main city the other party was talking about was built by Sister Jen. It was a palace built by the Marquis of Jin from the Celestial clan for himself. Sister Jen, with the ghosts and zombies under her command, expanded the palace into a city. Now, there is no living person in the secret realm except him, and no one knows what she is doing. Not only this main city, Sister Jen also brought the ghosts and zombies under her command to build a lot of facilities in other places in the portable secret realm. According to her idea, she wanted Su Fan to find some mortals from outside to enrich the population in the secret realm, which was quite like building a mortal kingdom. Su Fan ignored her and never brought people into the secret realm. The main reason was that he liked peace and quiet and didn't want to make the portable secret realm full of the smell of human fireworks. As for what Sister Jen wanted to do, just let her do it. It was also to find something for her to do, so that she wouldn't be bothered by him every day. "You guys go, we don't need you to serve here." As soon as the two little ghost slaves were sent away by Su Fan, the evil Buddha Wangda appeared from the lamp holder with a relaxed look on his face. He glanced at Su Fan, then collapsed on the recliner. "When did you come back?" Su Fan glanced at the old man, ignored him, and sipped the spiritual tea by himself. This old bastard spent most of his time in heaven having sex with a bunch of little ghost slaves. He doesn't even have a ghost body, and I don't know what he's doing. Is it just a kind of brain orgasm that he imagined? Bah, disrespectful to the elderly, Su Fan cursed in his heart, then picked up the teacup and took a sip. "By the way, that Vajra Deliverance Great Sunwheel Sutra, do you recite it every day?" Su Fan got angry when he mentioned this, and felt more and more that this old man was making fun of him. "I repeat it at least several times every day. You're right to listen to me. I didn't believe in this thing back then, but later I realized how useful it is. Unfortunately, I didn't believe it before, and it delayed me for many years." Seeing the seriousness of the evil Buddha Wangda's words, Su Fan was also a little confused. This old man couldn't be telling the truth. "Master, I'm back." At this time, Sister Jen floated over from a distance, and then knelt in front of him with grievance. Seeing the pitiful look of this dead girl, Su Fan, who wanted to scold her, softened his heart immediately. After all, she was a close friend who had been with him all the way, and he really couldn't bear to do it. "Okay, who are you doing that to?" After hearing Su Fan's words, Sister Jen's tears fell like water drops. "Master. I was wrong." "You're wrong, sir. Isn't it just sleeping with me? This is a big deal. I haven't eaten your cooking for a long time. Make a few more dishes tonight and I'll have a sip." Hearing Su Fan say this, Sister Jen burst into laughter and went to work excitedly. "I've never seen a cultivator who pampers a ghost slave like this. It's none of your business. I'm willing." Su Fan ignored this old guy. It's impossible to talk to an evil cultivator about these things. The evil cultivators have extreme mentality, especially these high-level evil old demons, whose minds have long been twisted. They are not the same kind of people at all. It's just that now they are grasshoppers tied to the same rope and have common interests. Su Fan knows in his heart that once the evil Buddha Wangda recovers his strength, the first person he wants to destroy is him. The hearts of these evil cultivators have long been black and hard, and there is no trace of human touch. They all adhere to the thinking of "I don't care about the flood after I die," let alone the evil cultivators, even those high-level cultivators of the immortal sect. There are few human touches. But those old monsters in the immortal sect and the demon sect will at least consider the overall situation. At least they will not be like the evil Buddha Wangda, who has no bottom line at all. This bunch of evil old demons are much more fucked up, and they all adhere to the thinking of after I die, I don't care about the floods. However, it is still unclear when this old bastard wants to restore his previous strength. Su Fan did not want to become a close friend with him. It happened that he was useful to him now, so he stayed by his side. Anyway, he was not a threat to himself. In the evening, Sister Zhen prepared a large table of spiritual food and vegetables. As expected, Su Fan was drunk again. But this time Su Fan did not black out again. He and Sister Zhen were busy all night. There was something at the unit these 2 days, and I came back a little late, so the update time was temporarily changed. A small chapter of 2,000 words will be updated around midnight every day, and the second chapter will be updated before 12 noon the next day. Chapter 838, Purely Buying Peace with Money. In the early morning, Su Fan slowly opened his eyes. He reached out and touched the side, and found that Sister Zhen was not there. He closed his eyes again and took a deep breath. The last time Su Fan drank, he had no feeling at all. Last night, he really experienced the fun of it. He didn't expect that intercourse with ghost cultivators would be so ecstatic, and he couldn't stop. The only pity was that Sister Zhen was a ghost, so he couldn't use his invincible lightning whip. What surprised Su Fan the most was that the pure and unsullied yin qi in Sister Zhen's body had a great effect on alleviating the influence of the great demon bloodline on him. After 3 rounds of tempering of the great demon qi and blood in his body, his temperament became very violent and fierce. If it weren't for his strong will and the baptism of several demons, others might have lost control. Although the pure and unsullied yin qi in Sister Zhen's body can only play a relieving role and cannot completely solve the influence of the great demon bloodline on him, it is already quite good. Anyway, Sister Zhen always stayed by his side and could help him relieve the side effects of the great demon bloodline at any time. At this time, Sister Zhen floated in from outside, and when she saw that Su Fan had woken up, her little face couldn't help but blush. "Master, breakfast is ready." Sister Zhen didn't have so many rules before, but after the two rolled together, she was like a bullied little wife. "Come here." After hearing Su Fan's words, Sister Zhen came over shyly, and then was pulled into Su Fan's arms. Caught off guard, Sister Zhen screamed and wanted to struggle to escape, but how could she escape Su Fan's clutches? The two of them stayed together until noon, and Su Fan walked out of the thatched cottage and sat at the dining table to eat lunch. Sister Zhen didn't come out with him, and I don't know if she was really whipped or too shy to show it. Su Fan was eating, and the communication array disc on his waist vibrated slightly. He took off the array disc from his waist, then took a look at the message and frowned immediately. This message was sent by Xing Rui, the steward of Qiqiao Pavilion, asking him to take time to go to the store and tell him something. Su Fan and Qiqiao Pavilion have always cooperated well. Basically, he completed the tasks of the store, and the rest of the time was at his disposal. He had a bad feeling in his heart, and his intuition told him that there might be trouble. If his feeling was right, it should be that the disciple of Lan Yu Xianguang was doing something weird again. After Su Fan finished lunch, he came to Qiqiao Pavilion. Seeing him coming, Xing Rui took the initiative to greet him and bowed to him. "Senior, I'm really sorry to make you go again. I originally wanted to go to your place, but I asked around in the store, and no one knew where you lived." Su Fan smiled and said, "If you have something to say, just say it. Don't be so polite to me." Xing Rui welcomed Su Fan into a fine room, brewed a pot of spiritual tea for him personally, and then poured him a cup. "Senior, the disciple of Lan Yu Xianguang was very satisfied with the top-grade Dao weapon you made for him. He has come to our store again and asked you to make a weapon for him again." What the hell? Although Xing Rui said it nicely, Su Fan felt so awkward. He was lucky and succeeded in refining a top-grade Dao weapon last time. But the other party actually asked him to continue making a weapon for him this time. This is not an honor, this is clearly difficult for him. The requirement of this task is not to make a top-grade Dao weapon again. Xing Rui listened and nodded with a wry smile. "I have completed my task this month. Don't you have any mandatory tasks in Qiqiao Pavilion?" Hearing Su Fan say this, Xing Rui was immediately a little terrified. "Senior, you misunderstood. I am not discussing with you. You are not discussing at all. You just came and gave me a high hat, and then want to push me into this pit. Forgive me for my lack of knowledge and talent. I can't take this job." Su Fan stood up and was about to leave, but Xing Rui quickly stopped him. "Senior, those disciples from the big sects are very troublesome. And it's not easy for the store to refuse. Just take this task. Even if the refining fails, all the losses will be covered by the store, and the commission for this task will be doubled. Hearing Xingrui say this, Su Fan smiled bitterly to himself. Qiqiao Pavilion opened a store on the territory of Lanyu Xiangong. Even if their disciples are troublesome, the store dare not treat them badly. Sometimes it would rather lose some money than to have a conflict with the other side's mountain sect disciples. This mission is purely about buying peace. Since Xingrui said so, Su Fan really couldn't refuse. After all, he didn't have to lose a penny, and there was a considerable commission. Qiqiao Pavilion has always cooperated with him in a harmonious way. Since the store has already covered the bottom line, Su Fan couldn't refuse it. Okay, since you said so, I will take this task. After hearing Su Fan's words, Xingrui was relieved and bowed respectfully. After all, the many Yuanying realm worshippers of Qiqiao Pavilion did not have such a mandatory task. If Su Fan just didn't agree, he really had no choice. Thank you, senior, I owe you a favor this time. Su Fan waved his hand and said, forget about favors, it's not that you don't give me a commission. Xingrui laughed, then took out a stored ring and handed it over. Senior, this is the material for making the weapon for this task, please take a look. Su Fan took the stored ring handed over by the other party, scanned it with his spiritual sense, and then nodded. Then I will go and refine it, and solve this trouble as soon as possible. After he said that, he came to his weapon-making room in Qiqiao Pavilion, and then arranged a formation, turned around and returned to the portable secret realm. When Su Fan returned to the portable secret realm, he came to the superb fire and began to refine this Taoist weapon. In fact, it is not difficult to refine this Taoist weapon, but the other party's weird requirements are difficult. Even if the weapon-making room has profound attainments, they dare not guarantee that every magic weapon they refine is of the best quality. Therefore, the request made by this disciple of Lanyu Xiangong is a bit inhumane. There is no way. The disciples of super sects are used to being domineering. Especially some disciples of immortal sects, they may not dare to let them go out to kill people, but they are very capable of being domineering in their own territory. A few days later, Su Fan returned to the weapon-making room of Qiqiao Pavilion. He took out the Taoist weapon that had just been refined from the ring, and then sighed. Although Su Fan was very casual when refining this Taoist weapon, who knew that he would refine a top-quality Taoist weapon in the end? Isn't it infuriating? How can this be justified? The update is a little late today, please forgive me. Chapter 839, just treated as eliminating harm for the people. Although he had refined another top-grade Dao weapon, Su Fan did not feel a sense of accomplishment. At this time, he successfully refined 2 top-grade Dao weapons in succession, which was definitely not a good thing. Su Fan sighed. It seemed that there would be trouble in the future. To be honest, when he was refining this Dao weapon, he could be said to be free and even absent-minded. Who would have thought that he could refine a top-grade Dao weapon just like this? Anyway, there was no one else. Su Fan left the weapon-making room and came to the outside of Xingrui's house, knocking on the door gently. Xingrui opened the door and saw Su Fan, and hurriedly welcomed him into the house. Senior, that Dao weapon. When he said this, he saw a trace of helplessness on Su Fan's face, and suddenly looked confused. Senior, you are not. Su Fan nodded and said, it's what you think. After he finished speaking, he sighed, and then handed a stored ring to Xingrui. Xingrui took the stored ring and scanned it with his spiritual sense. Senior, I will send you the commission in a few days. Su Fan shook his head and said, that's not urgent, I'll go back if there's nothing else. He left the Qiqiao Pavilion and returned to the small courtyard in the city, and then entered the portable secret realm. Su Fan came to the pond next to the thatched cottage and sat down cross-legged. Now the great demon blood in his body has a great influence on him. If he doesn't solve this problem thoroughly, he dare not do the 4th round of blood refinement. His realm has reached the late stage of the nascent soul realm, and there is no further progress. He can only wait patiently for the opportunity to break through. Moreover, Su Fan's progress is a bit too fast, and there are still many flaws in his state of mind. Even if the opportunity to break through comes, he will not break through immediately. So Su Fan now has almost nothing to do except brushing various spells and secrets every day. Fortunately, there is also a game panel, which summarizes and organizes various knowledge about the avenue for him, otherwise Su Fan would not know what to do every day. At this time, Sister Zhen floated over from a distance, brewed a pot of spiritual tea for him, and then poured a cup in front of him. Master, are you worried about something? Su Fan shook his head and said, just some small things. Sister Zhen came over and buried her head in his arms. Master, when you have time, go and see the main city. They have been busy there for so long, and you didn't even mention going to see them. Su Fan laughed, then gently touched her hair with his hand. Well, I'll go over in a few days. You've said so many times, but you haven't gone yet. At this time, a jade talisman hanging on Su Fan's waist suddenly vibrated slightly. He took the jade talisman off his waist, and then input a trace of spiritual energy, which immediately triggered a transparent light curtain. Devours, how are you doing recently? Looking at the message sent by Zuming, the external affairs steward of Huangquan Tower, he couldn't help but sigh. Time flies so fast. It has been almost 10 years since he was in Lanaiyu Fairy City. Not bad. In fact, he knew in his heart that as a bounty hunter of Huangquan Tower, it was time to accept a mandatory mission. Devours, I will send you the recent bounty tasks later. You can choose one from them and report it to me. I will help you arrange it. Well, got it. Su Fan sighed. He really didn't want to do this business. But he had already boarded the pirate ship. What's the point of talking about this now? He could only swallow his anger. After a while, Zuming sent a bunch of messages, with dozens of monks who were rewarded. Su Fan read them one by one, chose one from those monks who were rewarded, and sent it to Zuming. The person he chose was a notorious evil cultivator named Yuan Bin, a half-step incarnation cultivator. He was cruel and vicious, good at many evil arts, and committed countless bloody crimes. Yuan Bin was not only on the bounty list of Huangquan Tower, but also on the bounty lists of many sects and families in the Lujiao Star region. It can be said that he is notorious. The reason why Su Fan chose this Yuan Bin was that he was an evil cultivator and that he was close to him. He was hanging out in the Lujiao Star region. Devours, I advise you to change someone. Our Huangquan Tower has been offering a bounty on him for decades, and no one has been able to complete this task so far. Su Fan frowned when he saw the message sent by Zuming. Is he very strong? Although Yuan Bin is very strong, it should not be a problem for Devours. The main thing is that this guy is extremely good at hiding. It is not so easy to find him. Hasn't the Huangquan Tower got any information about him in all these years? There is a lot of information about this Yuan Bin, but he often appears in several dangerous places in the Lujiao Star region. We have already had several bounty hunters die in his hands. Su Fan understood what Zuming meant. The dangerous places where Yuan Bin appeared must be where evil cultivators and bandits gathered. If you want to hunt down Yuan Bin in such a dangerous place, you will not only face him alone, and the danger will increase exponentially. Su Fan hesitated for a while, and finally decided to choose this task. Most of the others were in other star regions. If the round-trip time was counted, it would take more than a year. He didn't want to be delayed on the road for so long. Moreover, the dangerous place where evil cultivators and bandit cultivators gathered was absolutely like a fish in water for Su Fan. It might be difficult for him to find other people, but if he was asked to find an evil cultivator, it would be no big deal. Moreover, there were almost no good cultivators in that kind of place. On the contrary, Su Fan would let go and kill them indiscriminately. Thinking of this, Su Fan sent a message to Zuming. No need to change, Justin. Okay, I'll arrange it for you right away. It will take about a month. You should be ready to go. Zuming and Su Fan chatted for a few more sentences before they ended the contact. Su Fan glanced at the jade talisman in his hand and couldn't help but sigh. Okay, just treat it as getting rid of harm for the people. Master, what's wrong with you? Su Fan hugged Sister Zhen and kissed her, then smiled. Nothing, I'm going to kill someone. Hearing Su Fan say this, Sister Zhen was relieved. Isn't it just killing a person? The master may not be good at other things, but he is definitely an expert in killing people. Su Fan picked up the teacup and took a sip, then took off the communication array from his waist and sent a message to Xing Rui. I have to go out to do something next month, which will take about a few months. I'm saying hello to you in advance, senior. Can you leave later? Su Fan knew what Xing Rui meant, because the Mountain Gate competition was imminent, and Su Fan had successfully refined 2 top-grade Taoist artifacts in succession. This guy would definitely show off everywhere. It won't be long before the disciple of Lanaiyu Fairy Palace has to come to Kakao Pavilion to customize a Taoist artifact. He has accepted such tasks twice. Cacao Pavilion has so many artifact makers in the multi-infant realm, it can't all depend on him alone. I guess not, I have an urgent matter to deal with. Chapter 840. These guys actually came to the door. Su Fan's tone was unquestionable. He was not discussing with Xingrui at all, but notifying him directly. The Yuanying realm weapon maker of Cacao Pavilion has a 2-month vacation every year. Su Fan has been here for nearly 10 years, and he has not taken a single day off. This time, he just took advantage of the mission to use up all his vacations. Seeing that Su Fan's attitude was very firm, Xingrui couldn't say anything, so he could only reluctantly agree. In the next few days, Su Fan began to stay at home and patiently waited for the message of the Huangquan Tower bounty mission. Now that he has reached the late Yuanying realm, his cultivation progress has long been stagnant, and the 4th round of bloodline tempering cannot be carried out. Moreover, he has been in Lanyu Fairy City for nearly 10 years, and it is time to go out for a walk. In the early morning, Su Fan sat cross-legged by the pond next to the thatched cottage, sipping the spiritual tea comfortably, and Sister Zhen knelt beside him like a little wife to serve him. Although the two of them had been together for a long time, Sister Zhen was a very traditional girl, and she was more careful than before. She has always been careful to fulfill her duties, staying by her master's side and taking care of his daily life. Especially when the evil Buddha Wangda was around, she never overstepped her bounds. When they were alone together, she could still let go a little, but she was passively following Su Fan's instructions. You have accepted the mission of Huangquan Tower, right? Just let me know when you need me. After hearing what the evil Buddha Wangda said, Su Fan nodded, then took a sip from the teacup. This time he went to hunt down the evil cultivator, and if the operation did not go smoothly, he really had to rely on this old guy. After all, this old guy was also from the evil way before, and he must know those evil cultivators better than him. Although Su Fan was always accurate in catching evil cultivators, if he wanted to target someone alone, to be honest, he didn't have many ways. Well, if it doesn't go well, I'll have to trouble you. It's okay. I have the most experience dealing with those guys. As long as I smell a little bit of it, I can help you find that guy. The two were chatting, and the communication array disc on Su Fan's waist vibrated slightly. He took off the communication array disc from his waist, picked it up and took a look, and found that it was a message from Xingrui, and immediately frowned. Senior, where's your residence? I'm going to give you the commission for making the last weapon. This guy asked about his residence, not just to give him a commission. No, I'll leave the commission with you first, and I'll pick it up later. Oh, Senior, can I visit you at your home? I want to tell you something in person. I knew you were up to no good. If you have anything to say, just say it here. Senior, the disciple from Lanyu Palace is here again, asking you to make a weapon for him. Didn't I tell you that I'm going out soon and won't accept any tasks from the store for the time being? Senior, I told him the same thing, but he didn't listen at all and insisted that I take him to you. This is so. Cacao Pavilion is so unkind, it's clearly trying to pass the buck. Tell him that I'm about to leave Lanyu City. And I probably won't have time to make a weapon in the next few months. Su Fan cut off the connection between the two parties after he finished speaking, and then threw the communication array disc into the ring without even looking at the message sent by the other party. What's going on? Seeing that the evil Buddha Wangda asked, Su Fan told him about it. This bunch of idiots from the immortal sect, although they are not very capable, each of them is quite powerful. If I can't afford to offend them, can I not hide? I will leave tomorrow, haha. I can't afford to offend them. With your bad reputation in this world of cultivation, if they knew you were Su Fan, I guess those high-level monsters in the moon-raising palace would be scared out of their wits. What the evil Buddha Wangda said was right. Now he is a disaster. He is like a disaster star now. No matter where he goes, he will not stop until he makes a few big things that will break the sky. A few domineering disciples of the immortal sect, I won't do anything to them. Su Fan has seen all kinds of scenes. How can he be on the same level with a few small shrimps? Moreover, he is quite comfortable staying in the moon-raising fairy city, and of course he doesn't want to move to another place for such a trivial matter. As the two were chatting, Su Fan suddenly sensed that his formation in the small courtyard in the city seemed to have been touched by someone just now. Su Fan frowned immediately. Those disciples of Lanyu Guang would not come to the door. What's wrong? Those guys might come to the door. Hey, these ignorant little bastards, they are going crazy. It's okay. I'll go out and take a look. Su Fan left the secret realm and came to a small courtyard in the city. As soon as his figure appeared in the hall, he saw that the formation arranged outside the courtyard was constantly attacked. Su Fan's heart jumped and a ball of fire jumped up. These guys actually came to the door. Who gave you the courage? Just when Su Fan's emotions were about to get out of control, he forced himself to suppress the violent emotions in his heart. He took a deep breath, tried to calm down his emotions, and then stepped into the courtyard. Su Fan waved his hand and removed the formation arranged outside the courtyard, then walked over and opened the courtyard door. Xing Rui and several monks wearing the standard robes of the Lan Yu Fairy Palace were gathered at the gate of the courtyard. The leader of these people was a cultivator in the late Yuanying realm. His face was as gentle as jade, and his robes were spotless. He had a sense of immortality and a hint of arrogance in his eyes. Next to him stood a beautiful female cultivator, with beautiful eyes like bright stars, eyebrows without makeup but emerald, and a slender figure. She was wearing a white robe without dust, and the breeze blew her soft skirt lightly, as if she would fly to the fairyland at any time. Seeing that the gate of the courtyard was opened, Xing Rui hurriedly walked up a few steps and bowed respectfully to Su Fan. Senior. I'm sorry to come to visit you, you are so presumptuous. You attacked the formation of the courtyard without answering the door. This is absolutely a taboo in the world of cultivation. But when Su Fan looked at the disciples of the Lan Yu Palace, he saw that they did not have any sense of doing anything wrong, but instead showed a hint of impatience. Su Fan did not want to argue with them, so he waved his hand gently. Come in and talk. He led everyone into the courtyard. Just as he was about to lead them into the hall, the monk in the lead from the Lan Yu Palace spoke up. Don't go in, just talk here. Chapter 841. This is a bit of bullying. The disciple of the Lan Yu Palace looked around and looked at the shabby courtyard with a hint of contempt on his face. The expressions of his fellow disciples were similar, especially the female cultivator, who had already frowned. Su Fan turned around and glanced at the other person, then looked at Xing Rui next to him. This guy reacted quickly and laughed. Let's talk in the courtyard, this place is spacious. After he said that, he pointed at the disciple of the Lan Yu Palace and introduced him to Su Fan. Senior, this is Master Gongjin of the Lan Yu Palace. As soon as Xing Rui said this, Gongjin interrupted him with a wave of his hand, and then bowed to Su Fan. You must be Brother Song Hao, nice to meet you. Su Fan nodded and bowed in return. My name is Song Hao. I wonder why you came here today. Gongjin smiled and said, you have made 2 top-grade Dao instruments for me in succession. You are really good at making instruments. Thank you for your compliment. I am just lucky. I am very satisfied with those 2 top-grade Dao instruments. You don't have to be so modest. Now that the sect competition is approaching, I brought my junior sister here today just to customize a top-grade Dao instrument for her. It turned out that this guy wanted to customize a Dao instrument for his junior sister. I didn't expect him to be a bootlicker. Fellow Taoist, it's really unfortunate that I will leave Lan Yu Xiancheng in the next few days. I can only say sorry. After hearing Su Fan's words, Gongjin's face suddenly became serious. Fellow Taoist, don't you even give me this little face, you're a jerk. Why should I give you face? I'm really sorry, I really can't take this business. Before Gongjin could speak, the female cultivator next to him spoke first. If you don't want to take it, then don't take it. I don't care about it, she snorted coldly after saying that, then glared at Su Fan and turned to walk out. Junior sister, wait a moment. Gongjin stopped the junior sister, then turned to look at Su Fan. Dao, if you don't take this business, I'm afraid you won't be able to leave Lan Yu Fairy City. Su Fan was amused by the other party's arrogant attitude. How could this guy be a disciple of a big sect? But he was like a child. Licking a dog, licking until he has nothing in the end. I have experienced the style of Lan Yu Fairy Palace, but I still say that I can't take this business. Gongjin sneered after hearing this, turned his head and looked at a fellow disciple next to him, and the other party immediately understood. He took out a J token from his ring and raised it to Su Fan. I am Li Ji from the Law Enforcement Hall of the Moon Landing Palace. I suspect that you are colluding with evil cultivators. Come back to the Law Enforcement Hall with me. After hearing what the other party said, Su Fan felt a violent emotion rising from the bottom of his heart. It is said that the disciples of the big sects are arrogant and domineering. Su Fan did not believe it before, but today he saw it. This is a bit bullying. From the expressions of several of them, It can be seen that these people must have made things difficult for people in the Moon Landing Palace before. Su Fan's emotions fluctuated slightly, and suddenly an extremely fierce divine pressure spread in all directions. At this moment, it seemed that the world was quiet. At this moment, the air around them almost solidified. An indescribable terrifying aura enveloped Gongjin, Li Ji and others like a blanket. At the same time, their hearts also set off a monstrous fear. At this moment, several disciples of the Moon Landing Palace stood still, and the blood in their bodies seemed to solidify. It was like falling into an ice cave in the dead of winter. A chill surged from the soles of their feet, freezing them to the bone, and they couldn't move at all. The most terrifying thing was that they felt as if this small courtyard had been isolated from the whole world and excluded from the world. Even their spiritual perception seemed to be imprisoned, with a confused feeling independent of the void. Gongjin looked at the person opposite him with horror. The other party was obviously a cultivator of the same level as himself. But he suddenly had an illusion that he was like an ant that was crushed by someone in front of him. And this was just the beginning. Sadness, annoyance, sadness, anxiety, inferiority, depression, pessimism, despair and other negative emotions suddenly emerged in the minds of Gongjin and others. The obsession in a certain memory area in their minds was easily turned out. In just a few breaths, Gongjin and others' eyes became red as blood, and they almost lost their minds. Only endless resentment and various negative emotions were left in their minds. The various soul protection magic weapons on Gongjin and others were broken almost at the same time. A stream of cool air began to spread in their bodies, and rushed to their minds in an instant, allowing several people to regain a trace of rationality. But the rationality that had just been restored was instantly shattered by the monstrous evil thoughts and resentment, and Gongjin and others fell into the endless hell again. Looking at the embarrassment of several Lanyu Fairy Palace disciples, Su Fan was also confused. Is this still a disciple of a super sect? It's too hard to toss. I didn't use much effort just now, I just had a little emotion in my heart, and then I had a thought. Why are you guys like this? In fact, Su Fan's judgment of his own strength has always been underestimated. It may be because of the influence of his previous life that he is used to predicting the enemy's leniency in everything he does. He didn't think about it. After all these years of unremitting efforts, he finally completed the tempering of his blood. In addition, he swallowed the essence and blood of the ghost demon monk. Today, all aspects of his body data are no longer the same as before. Su Fan's judgment of his own strength is still stuck in the past 10 years. Now, all the cultivators of the same level are crushed in front of him. It is not wrong to say that they are ants. At this moment, in a quiet room in Lanyu Fairy City, an old man was sitting cross-legged in the room. At this moment, his eyes suddenly condensed. Not good, he said inwardly, and then his figure disappeared from the air. At this time, Su Fan was in the small courtyard in the city. Just as Su Fan was about to retract his thoughts, he suddenly sensed something and raised his head to look up in the air. He saw an old cultivator galloping from a distance, and his extremely powerful aura was overwhelming. How dare you, actually dare to attack the disciples of Lanyu Fairy Palace in the city, he shouted. And then waved his hand to instantly wake up Gongjin and others from the state of confusion and almost losing their minds. Gongjin was panting heavily, and his robe was soaked with cold sweat. When he saw the old man floating in the air, he immediately felt a little embarrassed, and hurriedly bowed to the old man with several fellow disciples. Disciple, pay homage to the master. Chapter 842 I'd better not make things difficult for them. Facing the old man's scolding, Su Fan also bowed and paid respect. Junior Song Hao, I pay my respects to the heavenly venerable. Seeing several disciples of the moon-raising fairy palace calling the old man master, the other party must be the old monster of the refining void mirror in the sect. No matter how capable Su Fan is, he dare not neglect him in front of the old monster of the refining void mirror. He still has self-knowledge. Although he killed several evil cultivators in the refining void realm in the Storm Island Reef, those evil old demons were all fakes and could not be compared with a real old monster of the refining void realm in front of him. Moreover, at the Storm Island Reef, Su Fan also created the miracle of killing the enemy by leaping 2 levels with the help of the big boss of the Woman Upper Realm and the secret method of Rakshasa Dushan crying soul demon sound that was specifically used to overcome evil cultivators. If Su Fan were to fight a real old monster of the refining void realm openly, it would be no different from sending himself to death. He could blow him to pieces with just a breath. Of course, Su Fan was not too worried when facing the old monster of the Lan Yu Fairy Palace, who was in the realm of refining emptiness. With the other party's strength, he could easily see through his background. He was the only person in the entire world of cultivation who had the demon seed. Of course, the old monster of the realm of refining emptiness could guess his identity. As expected by Su Fan, when the old monster of the Lan Yu Fairy Palace looked at him, his eyes could not help but condense. He glanced at the disciples in the sect again. How could he not understand anything? You go back to the mountain gate. Gongjin and others were immediately confused when they heard this. What they didn't understand was that this kid attacked the disciples of the Lan Yu Fairy Palace in the city. Why didn't the master and the sect suppress him on the spot? Get out of here quickly, don't embarrass yourself here. Seeing that Gongjin and others were still not leaving, the old monster of the realm of refining emptiness was immediately angry and shouted loudly. He had heard that the disciples in the sect were arrogant and domineering on weekdays, but he didn't believe it at first. Now he believed it. These prodigal disciples actually dared to provoke this evildoer. They really didn't know whether to live or die. Fortunately, he showed up in time. If this kid really killed several disciples in the sect, then the Lan Yu Xian Palace would really not be able to stay out of it. The Lan Yu Xian Palace is a super large sect after all. It can't just ignore the death of disciples in the sect. Although Su Fan is only in the late Yuanying realm, he really doesn't dare to say that he can keep this kid. After all, Su Fan killed 4 Liangsu realm cultivators in the Storm Island Reef, which has long been a hot topic in the entire cultivation world. Although this matter is definitely suspected of exaggeration, he dare not gamble. Once he fails to take down this kid, the Lan Yu Xian Palace will not be able to survive in the future. After all, the sect is large and has many disciples. If you offend such a cruel and cunning person, the consequences can be imagined. Although the Lan Yu Palace is a super sect, it certainly cannot compare with the Wangchuan Palace in terms of hunting people. The bounty bonus issued by the Wangchuan Palace is said to be a reward that even the cultivators of the refining void realm will be tempted, but no one has received it until today. As long as he thought that the Lan Yu Palace had a grudge against this kid, the old monster of the refining void realm was a little terrified. In fact, he didn't know how Su Fan killed those evil cultivators of the refining void realm in the Storm Island Reef. So he was also afraid of Su Fan's strength. Although there are not many evildoers like Su Fan in this world of cultivation, 1 or 2 will pop up every tens of thousands of years. He fell from the air into this small courtyard and looked around. How long have you been in Lan Yu Fairy City? After listening to the words of the old monster of the refining void realm of the Lan Yu Palace, Su Fan couldn't help but sigh. It seems that he can't stay here any longer. To be honest, Su Fan has been staying here comfortably for nearly 10 years, and he still likes this place very much. Your Majesty, I have been serving as a weapon maker in the 7 Wonders Pavilion for almost 10 years now. The old monster of the refining void realm of the Lan Yu Fairy Palace nodded slightly after hearing this. The sect has been too indulgent to the disciples below in recent years. I am sorry to make you laugh. It is not easy to respond to the other party's words. Those messy things in your sect have nothing to do with me. But since the Lord Xianzhen said so, he couldn't help but answer. Your Majesty, I have been wandering around in recent years, passing through many star fields, and even joined several major sects. In my opinion, all sects are similar. Hearing Su Fan say this, the other party's face obviously improved a little. Although he guessed that Su Fan would not stay in Lan Yu Fairy City in the future, he still felt a little uneasy. You are going to settle down in Lan Yu Fairy City in the future? Su Fan almost laughed out loud after hearing the words of the Lord Xianzhen. You must be so afraid that I will stay here. Your Majesty, I am leaving here soon. I was supposed to leave in a few days, but I was threatened by your disciples, saying that I can't leave the Lan Yu Fairy City. Although Su Fan didn't want to argue with those guys, he also had a temper, and he had to give them a little eye drops before leaving. Hearing Su Fan say this, the other party was relieved. He was a dignified Xianzhen in the refining void realm, and he would actually use words to test a Yuanying realm cultivator. Anyway, looking at the entire world of cultivation, there is no one else like him. But the other party also understood the meaning of Su Fan's words, and a trace of anger rose in his heart. These few prodigal disciples almost brought such a disaster to the sect. It seems that it is time for the Lan Yu Fairy Palace to rectify its style. If this continues, these arrogant disciples in the sect may cause a lot of trouble for the sect. Actually, the spiritual energy here is rich, and the cultivation resources are abundant. You can continue to stay in Lanayue Fairy City. You are not guilty of saying this. If I continue to stay here, I guess the high-level monsters in the Lanayue Fairy Palace will not even be able to sleep peacefully. I'd better not cause trouble for them, that would be too annoying. Thank you, Xianzhen. Although I like this place very much, I have to leave for a reason. The other party laughed and said, if you need any help from our Lanayue Fairy Palace before leaving, just tell me. He knew that the other party was just being polite to him, and of course he would not be ignorant of the current situation. Thank you, Xianzhen. If there is anything I can help with in the future, I will do it at all costs. After listening to Su Fan's words, the other party was very satisfied with him. At least he had a good attitude. If this kid was not a troublemaker, he would have thought of accepting him into the sect. What a pity. Okay, I should go. After the other party said this, he smiled at Su Fan, and then his figure slowly disappeared in the courtyard. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 843, Fellow Taoist has been wronged. Guangjin and the others left Su Fan's courtyard. They had no intention of staying in the city. They returned to the mountain gate in despair. As soon as they entered the mountain gate, they were blocked by more than 10 disciples of the law enforcement hall. Brothers, come with us. Li Ji was also a disciple of the sect's law enforcement hall. He hurriedly stepped forward and bowed to the senior brother who was in the lead. Brother Hong Heo, what's going on? After hearing his words, Brother Hong Heo ignored him and repeated it again. Brothers, come with us. It was not until this time that Guangjin and the others realized the seriousness of the problem. They could only follow Brother Hong Heo to the sect hall. As soon as they entered the sect hall, they were stunned by the scene in front of them. They saw that the hall was already full of people. More than 100 uncles in the God Transformation realm, including the sect master, and more than 10 masters in the Void Refining realm were gathered in the sect hall. Almost all the elders of the Elder Hall of Lanayue Fairy Palace were present. Moreover, the senior members of the sect in the hall all looked at them with gloomy faces. Facing the gazes of dozens of senior members, Guangjin and others' legs suddenly became weak, and they knelt down and buried their heads deeply in the ground. Elite disciple Guangjin, who is arrogant and domineering on weekdays and stirs up trouble everywhere, has been deprived of his elite disciple status and punished to go to Yinfeng Cave for 10 years and reflect on his mistakes behind closed doors. Guangjin was immediately disheartened and collapsed to the ground. In order to become an elite disciple, he didn't know how much effort he had put in, and the family had also spent countless cultivation resources for this. Now that Yinfeng Cave has been deprived of his status as an elite disciple, he has no future in the sect, and how can he return to the family in the future? That's not all. Guangjin will be sent to Yinfeng Cave. It is said that the environment there is extremely bad. Let alone staying there for 10 years, he can't stand it for a few days. In the past, all the disciples who were punished by the sect to go there had committed extremely serious crimes. What he found most difficult to accept was that he had only made things difficult for a casual cultivator, so why did the sect punish him so severely? Guangjin had no idea that when the news that he had provoked Su Fan spread back to the sect, a group of bigwigs in the sect were almost scared to death. A group of old guys in the sect's elder hall wanted to kill him now. Why didn't you provoke anyone else? Who gave you the courage to provoke that scourge? At this time, several disciples from the sect's law enforcement hall came over and dragged Guangjin, who had already collapsed, out of the hall. Not only Guangjin, but also several disciples from the sect who went to Su Fan's campus with him were severely punished by the sect's elder hall. Not only that, the Lan Yuxian Palace also carried out a rectification campaign for the sect for this. This vigorous rectification campaign lasted for several months, almost affecting all the disciples of the Lan Yuxian Palace, and making the entire sect in chaos. Su Fan had no idea what happened inside the gate of Lanayue Palace. In fact, even if he knew, it had nothing to do with him. Because he was about to leave Lanayue City anyway. He couldn't stay here any longer, even though his identity was only known to the top leaders of Lanayue Palace. But Su Fan knew that within a few days, this matter would spread throughout the Lanayue Palace. Even the news of his appearance in Lanayue City would spread throughout the world of cultivation. Damn it, I was staying here well. I didn't expect to be messed up by a fool. Now even if he wanted to continue hiding here, he couldn't stay. Su Fan cursed inwardly, and then took out the Jade Talisman of Huangquan Tower. He activated a light curtain, sent a message, and told Zhu Ming what happened. The other party replied very quickly, almost in seconds. The news of your stay in Lanyu Fairy City will not be spread in a short time. I will arrange it for you as soon as possible. Please wait patiently for a few more days. Su Fan glanced at the message on the screen, then cut off the connection and put away the Jade Talisman. He returned to the portable secret realm and sat cross-legged by the pond. The matter is resolved. After hearing the words of the evil Buddha Wangda, Su Fan smiled bitterly. The people of Lanyu Fairy Palace have guessed my identity. I can't stay here anymore. What about those little guys? Didn't you kill them? Is it necessary to kill people for such a trivial matter? I am not a murderer. Su Fan felt that his reputation had been completely ruined. Even this former evil cultivator regarded him as a murderous devil. At noon the next day, Su Fan was discussing Taoism with the evil Buddha Wangda, and the formation of the courtyard outside was triggered again. He stood up from the ground, frowned and left the portable secret realm. Su Fan came to the courtyard outside, opened the door and saw Xing and a cultivator of the God Transformation realm standing outside. Senior, this is the shopkeeper of our Kiao Pavilion, Immortal Yan Hai. Su Fan didn't give them any face, and didn't even let the two enter the yard. What do you want to see me for? Although Su Fan's attitude was cold, Immortal Yan Hai didn't care at all, but smiled and bowed to him. I just heard about what happened yesterday, and I'm sorry that you have been wronged. You are identified immortal in the God Transformation realm, and you actually call him a fellow Taoist. It's really unbelievable. But you can't hit a smiling person. He didn't want to face them anymore, so he couldn't make things difficult for the two of them, so he could only welcome them into the yard. Su Fan, Immortal Yan Hai and others came to the hall and sat cross-legged. Fellow Taoists from our Kiao Pavilion. We are being harassed by the disciples of the Lanyu Fairy Palace. Of course, we can't just sit there and watch. We will definitely seek justice for you. What the hell were you doing before? Why are you here to show your courtesy now? It seems that Kiao Pavilion must have an insider inside the Lanyu Xian Palace, and this insider has a high status in the sect. If it weren't for Kiao Pavilion asking him to take the blame, this matter wouldn't have come to this point, so he didn't want to be nice to the two. I offended those disciples of the big sect for the sake of Kiao Pavilion, and I can't stay in Lanyu Xian City anymore. I can only quit my business and go to another place. Yan Hexianzhen heard it and took out a ring from his arms and handed it to Su Fan. Dao has suffered such a great injustice this time. We Kiao Pavilion must compensate you. Su Fan took the ring, scanned it with his spiritual sense, and his eyes suddenly lit up. How embarrassing. I have to say, Kiao Pavilion is really willing to give it up. Su Fan didn't know that after Xing left the courtyard yesterday, the more he thought about it, the more he felt something was wrong. As a deacon of Kiao Pavilion, he was also clear-headed. Su Fan attacked several disciples of the Lanyu Xian Palace in the city. The attitude of the old monster in the refining realm of the sect was too strange. These high-level old monsters in the big sects are all famous for protecting their shortcomings. Shouldn't Su Fan be suppressed immediately? But this high-level old monster actually drove several disciples in the sect back to the sect. Xing returned to the Kiao Pavilion and reported the matter to the shop owner Yan Hexianzhen. Yan Hexianzhen also felt that this matter was a bit strange, so he contacted the insider of the Lanyu Xian Palace, and the results surprised him. Just because of this little thing, the elders of the Lanyu Xian Palace were alarmed. The disciple of the Lanyu Xian Palace who made things difficult for Su Fan was actually deprived of the status of an elite disciple and was punished to face the wall in the Yinfeng cave for 10 years. Yan Hexianzhen immediately realized the seriousness of the problem, and he quickly took out the communication array and sent out several messages. The next day at noon, he received a reply message, which made him break out in a cold sweat and his legs went limp with fear. Immortal Yan Hai had never thought that the evildoer had been hiding under his nose for nearly 10 years. So Immortal Yan Hai did not even think about it. He brought Xing with him. He was a demon who killed people without blinking an eye. You must not provoke such a ruthless person. It would be bad if this guy became jealous. Chapter 844. Am I that scary? In fact, what Kiao Pavilion did was no different from the workplace in his previous life. Su Fan was angry, but he would not shout and kill for such a trivial matter. He could think so, but others did not know. Now in the eyes of others, Su Fan was a big devil who killed people without blinking an eye. Anyway, his reputation for evil could not be washed away. It was no wonder that others thought so. Look at the things he did. Not to mention the people he killed, he often sacrificed tens of thousands of monks, which made people shudder. To be honest, in the eyes of the monks in the entire cultivation world, he had long been no different from an evil cultivator. But Su Fan did not realize this. He positioned himself as an ordinary monk. Since Su Fan traveled to this cultivation world, he had been thinking of lying down and hoping to find a quiet place to die. But reality did not allow it. He would always create one thing or another for him, forcing him to wander around like struggling for life. Su Fan was indifferent by nature and had no ambition. He just wanted to find a place to live comfortably with his family for the rest of his life. But such a simple wish could not be fulfilled. Anyway, there is no one else. Yan Haxianzhen chatted with Su Fan for a few more words and then left Su Fan's courtyard. In fact, the main purpose of his coming here today was to give the ring. As long as Su Fan accepted it, he would feel at ease. Before leaving, Yan Haxianzhen also gave Su Fan a jade talisman. As long as he showed this jade talisman, he could enjoy the top VIP treatment in any cacao pavilion in this world of cultivation. After sending Yan Haxianzhen away, Su Fan glanced at the ring in his hand and couldn't help but smile bitterly. This guy may have guessed his identity. He came here today just to spend money to avoid disaster. Anyway, if you dare to give it, I dare to accept it. Who doesn't want it for free? Su Fan put away the ring and was about to turn to the portable secret realm when the formation outside the courtyard was triggered again. Who the hell is this again? Is it over yet? Su Fan frowned and opened the courtyard door. He saw a beautiful female cultivator standing outside. It was Gong Jin's junior sister. Behind the girl was a cultivator in the spiritual transformation realm. The other party smiled and bowed to him. I am Song Xian. I am sorry to come to visit you today. I hope you don't mind. Su Fan has always been soft-hearted. It is already a demotion for a cultivator in the spiritual transformation realm to call him like this. He didn't know what to say, so he could only welcome the two into the courtyard. As soon as the girl entered the courtyard, she knelt in front of Su Fan, which scared him. Fellow Taoist, my family used to spoil this girl too much, so she developed a willful temper. She offended you yesterday. The ancestor of my family specifically asked me to bring her here to apologize to you. You can kill her or beat her up. After hearing what Song Xian said, Su Fan was dumbfounded. I am not an unreasonable person. Do you have to do that? Hurry up, hurry up, it's not that bad, it's really not that bad. Su Fan quickly pulled the girl up, then turned to look at Song Xian. Senior, you are embarrassing me. Song Xian was relieved by Su Fan's attitude. It seems that he is not as fierce and brutal as the legend says. He is quite reasonable. The fact that this girl bumped into Su Fan even shocked the family ancestor, who had not appeared for a long time. Last night, all the senior members of the family gathered together to discuss how to deal with this matter. During this period, the opinions of each room were different. Anyway, there were all kinds of opinions. Some people even came up with a bad idea of killing Su Fan overnight. In the end, the ancestor of the family overcame all the opinions and asked Song Xian to bring the girl to apologize. As long as fellow Taoist doesn't argue with this little girl, then I will be relieved. And a little girl. The girl is already in the middle stage of the nascent soul realm, and she must be at least several hundred years old. Senior, please go in and have a cup of spiritual tea. Song Xian had no mood to drink tea. He had to return to the family quickly. A lot of people at home were waiting for his news. He took out a store drink from his arms and handed it to Su Fan. Thank you for your magnanimity. This is a little gift from my family. Please accept it. Su Fan waved his hands and said, that's not possible. It's just a small matter. It's not necessary. He accepted the stored ring that Yan Haxian gave him just now. After all, the Cacao Pavilion did not do it properly, and he accepted the storage ring with a clear conscience. But the sister had nothing to do with this matter. If he accepted someone else's things again, it would be a bit unreasonable. Even if Su Fan was obsessed with money, he still had to save face. Devours, this is a gift from the ancestor of the family. If you don't accept it, how can I explain to the ancestor when I go back? After Song Xian finished speaking, He forced the storage ring into Su Fan's hand, and then bowed and said goodbye. The girl followed her uncle out, and when she reached the door, she turned around and looked at Su Fan lovingly, and then left the yard. This is fucking. Su Fan knew that if he didn't accept the ring, everyone in the Song family would feel uneasy. Okay, I'll accept it. The people in the girl's family would rather lose money than have a conflict with him, just because they were afraid that this cruel big devil would come after him. Su Fan shook his head and wanted to return to the portable secret realm, but people kept coming. The people who came to visit him were the elders of the families of several disciples who were with Gongjin yesterday, and they all had to bring their children to apologize. Before leaving, these people left a ring for Su Fan as an apology for their children's offense. In just a short while, he had already accepted several rings, which were filled with spirit crystals and various rare and top-grade cultivation materials. This is fucking. Am I that scary? He is such an easygoing person. Alice. It seems that he can't get rid of the label of the big devil in a short time. Su Fan returned to the portable secret realm and sat cross-legged by the pond. What's wrong with you? Why did you take so long to come back? The evil Buddha Wangda in the oil lamp magic weapon next to him saw the expression on his face and couldn't help asking. Su Fan told him what had just happened. Haha. What's the big deal? In the early years, I was just like you, notorious. No matter where I went, I would cause a sensation in the local area. Looking at the evil Buddha Wang's ostentatious look, he couldn't help shaking his head. I am a serious and good person, how can I be compared with you evil old demons? By the way, even the family members of the Lanayou Fairy Palace know your identity, so you'd better leave as soon as possible. After listening to the words of the evil Buddha Wangda, Su Fan agreed deeply. It's better to leave Lanayou Fairy City as soon as possible. It is estimated that in less than 2 days, the news that he is in Lanayou Fairy City will spread throughout the world of cultivation. Chapter 845 It's good to be organized. Late at night, the moonlight is like water. The moon is bright and clear, like a night lamp hanging in the sky, clear and flawless, cold and elegant. The silence of the night in Lanayou Fairy City is in sharp contrast to the hustle and bustle of the day. A thin wisp of mist, under the cover of the dark night, floated out silently from Su Fan's courtyard. Su Fan, in a mist state, floated all the way to a courtyard in the city. He also prepared another identity in Lanayou Fairy City in case of emergency, and occasionally came to change into this identity. Su Fan, in a mist state, floated into the house and then restored his true human body. Fortunately, the news that he appeared in Lanayou Fairy City is currently limited to some high-level people in Lanayou Fairy Palace. If it takes another 2 days, it will definitely spread throughout the world of cultivation. By then, Wangchuan Palace will definitely send a bounty hunter team to Lanayou Fairy City to hunt him down. Even so, Su Fan still made a deal with the woman upper world boss, asking him to conceal his breath and avoid the detection of the old monsters in the Lanayou Fairy Palace. He left his clone in the original courtyard to buy as much time as possible. Su Fan sat cross-legged on the couch, took off the Jade Talisman of Huangquan Tower from his waist, and then activated a light curtain and sent a message to Zhu Ming. My whereabouts in Lanayou Fairy City have been exposed. I decided to leave immediately. Where can I go to meet me? Zhu Ming's message was replied very quickly, almost in seconds. Then you go to Lycan Fairy City first, there will be someone to meet you. Then, Zhu Ming sent him another message, all of which were detailed information about the meeting place and personnel. The next morning, Su Fan, who had completely changed his body shape and appearance, came to the teleportation hall outside Lanayou Fairy City and left Lanayou Fairy City on the teleportation formation. He followed the route Zhu Ming had set for him, and after more than a month of twists and turns, he finally arrived at the Lycan Fairy City and met with a person who was supposed to pick him up. Although he was quite disgusted with joining the Huangquan Tower, he had to say that it was really good to have an organization. Thanks to the intelligence system and logistics system of the Huangquan Tower, as a bounty hunter, he only had to hunt down the monks with bounties, and he didn't have to worry about anything else. Su Fan stayed in the city comfortably for a few days, and Zhu Ming sent him the information and intelligence of this mission. He had no choice but to embark on the journey again, heading to the area where this mission was located, to carry out his first mission after joining the Huangquan Tower. Lujiao Star Region, the Burial Demon Mountains in the north of Wu'ai Ocean. The Burial Demon Mountains are located in the northern region of Kixingtian. It used to be the endless demon country of the demon race, and countless demon races have been breeding here for generations. Legend has it that in ancient times, the entire extinction was the world of the demon race. Later, as the human cultivators gradually became stronger, they finally drove the demon race to the endless ice field in the extreme north. The burial demon mountains are said to be the ancient battlefield between the human race and the demon race, where the high-ranking leaders of the two races fought to the death. There are continuous mountains and primeval forests here, and it is said that the forest covers almost a quarter of the entire plain. Although countless years have passed, there are still many relics of the endless demon kingdom and various ruins and dangerous places caused by the war. Compared with the peaceful Seven Stars, the situation here is much more complicated. The Burial Demon Mountains is the most chaotic area in the entire plain, with the forces of the Immortal Sect, the Demon Sect, the Scattered Cultivators, the Evil Cultivators, etc. The reason why the Seven Stars is so chaotic is mainly because the Immortal Sect and the Demon Sect here have many conflicts. In order to compete for the control of the entire plain, the Immortal Sect and the Demon Sect often have large-scale immortal demon wars, and have no time to take care of other things. In addition, the area of the Burial Demon Mountains is too vast, and the environment is extremely complex, so it also provides fertile ground for scattered cultivators and evil cultivators. Now the northern part of the entire Burial Demon Mountains has almost become a paradise for scattered cultivators and evil cultivators. Many bandits and evil cultivators who committed bloody crimes in various star regions of extinction ran to hide in the Burial Demon Mountains to avoid being hunted down. This also made the Burial Demon Mountains more and more chaotic. Many areas controlled by the Loose Cultivator Alliance were okay, at least there was a minimum of order. But those areas where bandits and evil cultivators gathered were almost out of order. In the early morning, Su Fan walked out of the teleportation hall of Lingtai Xiancheng. He looked at the crowded square outside, and then walked towards the city. Lingtai Xiancheng is located in the middle of the Burial Demon Mountains. If you go north, you will reach the most chaotic area of extinction. He walked around the city and then came to an inn called Liu Xianzhou in the city. This is a stronghold of Huangquan Tower. He contacted the head through a code word and was then arranged in a luxurious suite. Su Fan pushed the door and walked into the guest room. The decoration inside was extremely luxurious. It would definitely cost a lot of money to stay in a room of this grade for one night. He sat cross-legged on the couch, brewed a pot of spiritual tea for himself, and then took a sip from the teacup. Su Fan put down the teacup, took out a jade slip from the ring, and placed it on his forehead. This was just secretly stuffed into his hand by the shop assistant. The jade slip recorded the recent intelligence of the target of this mission. The intelligence system of Huangquan Tower is really powerful. The places where the evil old demon Yuan Bin appeared recently have been recorded in detail in the jade slip. Moreover, the intelligence system of Huangquan Tower will continue to track Yuan Bin's whereabouts during this period, and transmit it to Su Fan in real time through various means. It has to be said that it is good to have an organization. After a while, Su Fan put down the jade slip, and then closed his eyes and thought for a while. He put the jade slip into the ring, and took out another jade slip and placed it on his forehead. This jade slip records the detailed information of the target person this time, covering almost every aspect of Yuan Bin. According to the information in the jade slip, Yuan Bin's realm has broken through to the half-step transformation of the spirit, and his strength is very powerful. This guy had a very good record in the past, and even had a record of killing an enemy above his level. Although the person he killed was also an evil cultivator in the early stage of the refining void realm, it can be judged from this that the other party has quite a lot of tricks. Moreover, he is brutal and cruel, and is proficient in many evil arts. More than 10 Huangquan Tower killers and bounty hunters have died at his hands. Yuan Bin had committed countless heinous crimes in various star fields in the Seven Stars, and was listed on the bounty lists of many super-large and high-level families. It has been almost 10 years since Huangquan Tower took over his business, but Yuan Bin is still able to get away with it. Chapter 846, Striving for a Kill. Su Fan sat cross-legged in the guest room, gently stroking the jade slip in his hand. Where was the last place that Yuan Bin appeared? At this time, the evil Buddha Wangda in the oil lamp magic weapon placed next to him suddenly asked. The place where he appeared most recently was the Black Wind village in the northwest of the Burial Demon Mountains. Then what are you waiting for? Just go and kill him directly. This information is from a few months ago. Yuan Bin can't always stay there. I want to wait for the latest information. Black Wind Village is extremely remote. Su Fan doesn't want to wait until he kills there and then go back the same way. For this mission, he strives to kill with one strike. Su Fan doesn't want to stay in this broken place for too long. Then how are you going to hunt that guy down? After hearing what the evil Buddha Wangda said, Su Fan was stunned for a moment. He was really stumped by this guy's question. To be honest, he really lacks experience in this area. Since he came to this world of cultivation, it has always been others who hunt him down, and he rarely hunts down others. Su Fan sorted out his thoughts and then talked about his general plan. Of course, we should prepare intelligence, and then determine the time and place for the killing. When the target appears, we will kill him with one strike. After hearing Su Fan's words, the evil Buddha Wangda sneered. If we follow your killing plan, it will be no problem to deal with those disciples of the immortal sect and the demon sect, but don't forget that Yuan Ben is an evil cultivator. At this point, he sneered. Evil cultivators are like rats crossing the street. They are hunted down all year round. They are extremely sensitive to crises, and they would rather believe it than not believe it. Even if they find something wrong, they will evacuate immediately. Hearing what the evil Buddha said, Su Fan felt that it made sense. Isn't it just like what this guy said? No wonder Huangquan Tower has spent more than 10 years without catching this guy. Not to mention others, even if he has a lot of experience in being hunted down, his sensitivity to crises is indeed far beyond that of ordinary people. So what you mean is, the evil cultivator Wangda sneered, and then said, show me the map of the buried monster mountains. After hearing what this guy said, Su Fan took out the intelligence jade slip provided by Huangquan Tower, and a light curtain map appeared after activating it. The map recorded the distribution of various forces in the buried monster mountains in detail, and even some smaller strongholds were clearly marked. North of the buried monster mountains, there are almost no resource points of immortal sects and demon sects. Almost all of them are occupied by various loose cultivator alliances. The rest of the more remote areas and dangerous places are dotted with strongholds of bandit cultivators and evil cultivators. After the evil cultivator Wangda finished speaking, he chuckled. Like this Black Wind Village, the person who controls this place is at most a cultivator in the God transformation realm. When you get there, don't give Yuan Bin time to react, just kill him directly. You know what, this old guy's plan is really to Su Fan's liking. At this time, the jade talisman of Huangquan Tower on Su Fan's waist vibrated slightly. He took off the jade talisman from his waist, and then activated the transparent light curtain, and a line of words appeared on it. 3 days ago, Yuan Bin appeared in Black Wind Village again, and the news has been confirmed twice. Su Fan put away the jade talisman of Huangquan Tower, then stood up from the ground and went straight to the counter at the entrance of the inn. The shopkeeper standing behind the counter saw him coming and stood up quickly. Devours, do you want to check out? Su Fan nodded and said, I'm going to Black Wind Village in the southwest. The innkeeper listened, stretched out his hand to call a shop assistant to his side, and then whispered a few words in his ear. Senior, please follow me. After listening to the shop assistant's words, Su Fan nodded to the innkeeper, and then followed him out of the inn. Although the burial demon mountains are vast, except for a few areas controlled by the loose cultivator alliance that have teleportation arrays, those who want to go to other places, especially remote areas, can only take a flying boat. Fortunately, although the Black Wind Village is located in a remote area, it is not far from the sphere of influence of a loose cultivator alliance. The waiter of the Liu Xianju Inn, who is also an outside member of the Huangquan Tower, led Su Fan to the teleportation hall of the Lingtai Xiancheng. On the way here, the other party had already planned the route to the Black Wind Village for him. Not only that, but he also knew the various Huangquan Tower pickup locations along his journey. It must be said that the intelligence system and logistics system of the Huangquan Tower are really powerful. Su Fan nodded to the other party, then walked into the teleportation hall. With a dazzling light, his figure disappeared. Half a month later, after several twists and turns, Su Fan finally arrived in the vicinity of the Black Wind Village. He drove the Ghost Crow to land on a relatively flat mountain, and then put the Ghost Crow into the portable secret realm. Su Fan stood on the top of the steep peak, overlooking the surrounding continuous mountains. There was a vast sea of clouds under his feet, and the sea of clouds was rolling endlessly. The forests were like rolling green waves, as if they were boundless and vast. After coming out of the teleportation hall of the immortal city of the loose cultivator alliance, he drove the Ghost Crow all the way here. In the past few days, he had seen the vastness of the burial demon mountains. What he saw was endless mountains and dense and boundless primeval forests. Moreover, they were all dangerous mountains and bad waters, cliffs were everywhere, and the valleys and gullies were filled with fog. At first glance, it was a dangerous place full of poisonous miasma and poisonous insects. Although the endless demon country no longer exists, the burial demon mountains are full of various powerful monsters. Although the ghost crow remained invisible, he was ambushed by the monsters more than a dozen times along the way. The Black Wind village was more than 10 miles ahead. A fast-flowing river suddenly inserted into the 100-foot cliff. In the thick fog, the cliffs on both sides were towering 100 feet high, as if they were split open by a sharp axe. Through the thick fog, a hidden valley between several peaks on the river ahead could be vaguely seen. Su Fan took off the Jade Talisman of Huangquan Tower from his waist and sent a message. An eyeliner of Huangquan Tower had been lurking in Black Wind Village for several months. "I'm here." After a while, the other party replied with a message. "Come on, go to Black Wind Village and find a restaurant called Azuaze. I'll wait for you there." Su Fan glanced at the message and then put away the Jade Talisman. He did not enter Black Wind Village immediately, but his eyes condensed and turned into thin mist, slowly floating towards Black Wind Village. Chapter 847 This gentleman is too reckless. Su Fan came to the outside of the valley, but standing here he could only see a thick fog. Just when he was at a loss, several figures walked out of the fog. These people all had fierce faces, exuding a violent aura from head to toe, and it was easy to mess with them. Su Fan hurriedly bowed to them and said, "Fellow Daoists, this is Black Wind Village." The leader, a cultivator in the late nascent soul realm, glanced at him with a sinister look. "It takes 500 spirit crystals to enter Black Wind Village, and 10 spirit crystals to stay in it for a day. It's really dark. Ordinary cultivators really can't afford to go to such a place. Only those desperate criminals who have committed bloody crimes will come here to take refuge when they are desperate." Su Fan took out a ring and threw it over, and the other party took it in his hand and scanned it with his spiritual sense. "Boy, before you go in, I'll say this, be quiet when you come to Black Wind Village. If you dare to cause trouble here, I'll tear you apart." After the other party finished speaking, he threw a Jade Talisman over, then turned and walked into the mist. Su Fan picked up the Jade Talisman and took a look, then held it up and walked towards the mist in front of him. As soon as he walked into the mist, his eyes suddenly opened up. In the valley not far ahead, a simple fortress came into view. Su Fan walked into the fortress, looking around as he walked. There was only one main street here, with rows of shops on both sides. It seemed that the business was very quiet and almost no one patronized it. Only the houses in the central area of the fortress were relatively regular, and the rest of the valley was full of crooked and strange wooden houses. Looking around, countless densely packed people filled the entire valley, and even many simple shacks were built on the mountains on both sides of the valley. Many monks gathered on both sides of the street, sitting or standing, and each of them had a fierce face, and it seemed that none of them was good. They all cast fierce eyes at Su Fan, and their cold eyes followed his figure, like a group of wild beasts staring at their prey. Su Fan didn't care about the greedy eyes of those people. He came to Dezuaze and looked up at the plaque above. Although the name is elegant, this restaurant is very simple. It looks like a wooden house built with wood. At this moment, in a restaurant in Hefangzhe, Jiang Ping was sitting in a private room, anxiously waiting for Su Fan's arrival. As an external member of the Huangquan Tower intelligence system, he is often in danger, and he has been running around all year round, and his income is very unstable. But he earns this life-threatening money. Once he succeeds once, the reward is also quite generous. As long as the information provided by Jiang Ping this time can help the bounty hunter of Huangquan Tower successfully kill Yuan Bin, it will be enough to lie flat for more than 100 years. He waited in the private room of the restaurant for a long time, but no one came. Just when Jiang Ping wanted to get up and leave, the door of the private room was pushed open and a cultivator walked in from outside. Seeing Su Fan's appearance, Jiang Ping couldn't help but frown. The man in front of him was plain and looked ordinary. Even if he was thrown into the crowd outside, he would be the most inconspicuous one. This person obviously did not fit the image of the bounty hunters in Huangquan Tower in his mind. He was too ordinary. In the past, he had also come into contact with several bounty hunters in the organization, at least they were much more powerful than Su Fan in terms of momentum. Because killing is not illegal in this world of cultivation, The image of killers is completely different from that in the previous life. Especially the bounty hunters of Huangquan Tower, they will be more flamboyant. All of them are the kind of people who walk with the wind with their own BGM. You are Jiang Ping. After hearing Su Fan's words, Jiang Ping came back to his senses. Senior, I have been waiting for you here for a long time. Let's eat first. Su Fan didn't have the heart to eat, so he quickly killed and left. Besides, the big boss from the upper realm of woman has been helping him to conceal his murderous aura. If he delays for a while, that guy will sense the danger. I won't eat any more. Take me to where Yuan Bin is right now. Jiang Ping was confused after hearing Su Fan's words. Did the bounty hunters of Huangquan Tower determine the target's location first and then make an ambush plan? This gentleman is too impatient. Senior, Su Fan turned his face and said, stop talking nonsense and take me there quickly. Jiang Ping saw Su Fan's face change, and could only lead Su Fan out of the restaurant helplessly, and then took him to the outside of a courtyard in the town. Su Fan glanced at the courtyard in the distance, then turned his head and looked at Jiang Ping. Are you sure that Yuan Bin is in this courtyard? Jiang Ping nodded and said, I saw him walk out of this courtyard with my own eyes. Su Fan nodded and waved his hand. Go ahead, we don't need you here. Jiang Ping was even more confused after hearing this. Why don't we need me? Su Fan didn't care what the other party thought. He took out a jade talisman from his ring. This was a blood jade talisman with a trace of Yuan Bin's blood in it. He took a look at the reaction on the jade talisman and found that it was shining, indicating that Yuan Bin was nearby. Su Fan crushed the jade talisman with a snap, then pinched his fingers and chanted a spell, activated the magic sex blood secret method, and directly locked Yuan Bin's key. Senior, let's start. His eyes condensed and sent a thought to the big boss of the upper realm of the witch sect. Boom, with a buzzing sound, a bloodlight instantly fell from the sky, covering him, and also made his realm rapidly improve in a short period of time. Now he has made a deal with the big boss of the upper realm of the witch sect, and he can already buy on credit. When Su Fan's realm was raised to the realm of transformation, he took out a palm-sized array plate and input spiritual energy into it. Boom boom, with a loud noise that shook the world, a huge aura shield enveloped the entire Black Wind village like an inverted bowl. It took Su Fan only a few breaths of time to activate the Blood Dao secret method to lock Yuan Bin's aura, activate the Woman Descending God formation, and finally activate a 7th level Immortal formation. Senior, at this time, Jiang Ping next to him was already scared. What on earth was this gentleman going to do? The cultivator guarding this Black Wind village was an evil demon in the transformation realm. Was he looking for death? Get out, stay aside. Jiang Ping was scolded and hurriedly rolled to the side. At this time, all the cultivators in the Black Wind village were startled. They all raised their heads and looked at the aura shield covering their heads. At this time, Jiang Ping's face was already full of horror. He looked at a yard deep in the Black Wind village in panic. There was the residence of the evil cultivator in the transformation realm. At this time, he saw Su Fan had already moved, and the whole person disappeared from the spot in an instant. Boom, with a loud noise, a big hole was knocked out of the wall of the small courtyard opposite, and Su Fan had already rushed into the courtyard unreasonably. Jiang Ping was completely stupid. He never thought that Su Fan would be so fierce. This gentleman is too reckless. The one guarding this Black Wind village is an old monster in the transformation realm. He is so reckless, isn't he afraid of death? Boom, at this time, a figure soared into the sky from the small courtyard opposite. But before this person could escape, he saw that he didn't know what happened to him, and he inexplicably stopped in the air. Shoo! At this time, a silent sword light crossed the sky and the earth, swept directly over the man's body, and instantly cut him in half. Swoosh! A dark magic smoke rushed out from the corpse, and before it could escape from this place, a figure was seen arriving in an instant. Pa! He grabbed the dense demonic smoke and crushed it. Su Fan took off the jade talisman of Huangquan Tower from his waist, swept it over the two corpses on the ground, and a look of satisfaction suddenly appeared on his face. The target was correct, and the jade talisman had already shown that the mission was over. In the distance, the jade talisman on Jiang Ping's waist also vibrated slightly. He quickly took it off and took a look, and was immediately stunned. This is too fast. In the blink of an eye, Yuan Bin was killed on the spot by this gentleman. Chapter 848. Brother, we are on someone else's territory, okay? At this time, the entire Black Wind village was silent, and the air seemed to be stagnant. Su Fan didn't care about that at all. and directly put the 2 pieces of Yuan Bin's body into the Juan's secret realm. At this time, several cultivators rushed from a distance and surrounded Su Fan. The cultivators of the Black Wind village recovered from the shock, and then whoosh ran over from all directions, and in a moment, Su Fan was surrounded. These bandit cultivators and evil cultivators were all like chicken blood, with a gleam of excitement in their eyes. They stayed in the Black Wind village every day and had nothing to do. They were almost sick from being idle. Now there was finally something exciting to watch. The person who led the Black Wind village was the late Yuanying realm cultivator who led him into the Black Wind village. He pointed at Su Fan and shouted angrily, "Devours, you are so brave that you dare to kill people in our Black Wind village." Su Fan laughed, and then his face slowly became cold. Huangqu Tower is doing business, and idle people should stay away. After hearing Su Fan's words, the monks gathered around burst into laughter. Several monks from the Black Wind village also laughed. Has the Huangqu Tower declined to this extent? Such a bastard can actually be a bounty hunter. Even Jiang Ping, who was hiding outside the crowd, couldn't help but cover his face when he heard it. He has been working on the periphery of the Huangqu Tower intelligence system for so long, but this is the first time he has encountered such a stupid bounty hunter. Brother, we are in someone else's territory, okay? Let alone the Huangqu Tower. Even if you are a disciple of a super sect, you have to be humble when you arrive at the Burial Demon Mountain Range. Unless you are forced into a desperate situation, you dare not easily announce your family. Because these disciples of super sects are all large amounts of spirit crystals in the eyes of these brutal and violent bandit cultivators and evil cultivators. Who are these people here? Take any one of them, they are all bandit cultivators who kill people like crazy, or evil cultivators who have committed heinous crimes. Now you have been trapped in a heavy siege, and it is impossible to escape. In front of this gang of thugs, your identity as a bounty hunter in Huangqu Tower is nothing. Who recruited this gentleman into Huangqu Tower? He is too stupid. Jiang Ping secretly thanked himself that he did not stand by him all the time, otherwise he would have been implicated by this idiot today. No, he can't stay here any longer. Anyway, the mission has been completed. As for the life and death of that idiot, Jiang Ping couldn't care even if he wanted to, so he had to pray for the best. Thinking of this, Jiang Ping took advantage of no one noticing him and turned to flee outside the Black Wind village. But just as he ran out of the Black Wind village, he was blocked by a spiritual passport. Jiang Ping then remembered that this idiot had arranged a 7th level formation outside, and he couldn't break this formation with his strength. This idiot, you are killing me. At this moment, Su Fan looked around, frowning at those people who were laughing so hard that they were out of breath. Let me say one more thing. When Huangqu Tower is doing things, idle people should stay away. Otherwise, they will be killed without mercy. Hearing Su Fan repeating one sentence, the laughter around him became louder. In the eyes of this group of desperate people, this kid must be a little sick, otherwise he would not be so stupid. Now that he is surrounded by enemies, he still has the mind to speak harshly to them. Huangqu Tower may have some deterrent power in other places, but in this place of the buried monster mountains, no one cares at all. And even Huangqu Tower should be reasonable. If you want to kill people, just kill them, but you have to make such a big formation to kill people. You also set up a 7th level formation outside the Black Wind village. This is a slap in the face. No one would give you face. Facing the countless monks around who laughed at him, Su Fan sneered. A sinister and strange vertical eye suddenly appeared on his forehead, and then slowly opened, revealing a sinister and vicious aura in the strange vertical eye. The late Yuanying realm cultivator, who was the leader of the Black Wind village opposite, was the first to feel something was wrong. Not good, be careful of him, he shouted hurriedly, but before he finished shouting, he felt that his eyes went black, and then he knew nothing. The extremely powerful divine thought, with Su Fan as the center, swept around wildly. An invisible and intangible divine thought, like a huge wave, instantly swallowed up the densely packed cultivators around. Pa! Pa! The heads of the cultivators exploded one by one, and colorful brains and blood splashed everywhere. Except for some late Yuanying realm cultivators who just fainted, the others all turned into headless corpses. In the blink of an eye, the more than 1,000 headless cultivators around Su Fan fell to the ground, leaving brains and bone and flesh fragments all over the ground. Run! Although the cultivators who were standing at the outermost edge were not affected by this powerful storm of divine thoughts, they were also frightened and fled in panic. Jiang Ping happened to run back from outside at this time and saw the tragic scene of more than 1,000 heads exploding. He was stunned by the shock, and a huge wave of emotions was set off in his heart. This man is too fierce. There were more than 1,000 violent bandit cultivators and evil cultivators, and they were all gone in the blink of an eye. Su Fan did not chase those who escaped, but raised his hand and flicked his fingers to shoot out a stream of energy, finishing off the unconscious cultivators one by one. Seeing his calm expression when killing people, Jiang Ping was frightened to the point of numbness. What is the origin of this guy? Only those big demons who kill people everywhere can stand in front of such a sea of blood and corpses and still be calm. Suddenly, Su Fan turned his head sharply and looked into the depths of the Black Wind Village. Then he saw an extremely powerful aura, rolling towards him like a tsunami. Su Fan frowned immediately. He knew that the old monster in the god transformation realm of the Black Wind Village had come. But he was not afraid at all, but stood there with his hands behind his back, quietly waiting for the other party to come. If the other party knew the situation, this matter would end here. If this old monster in the god transformation realm dared to fight with him, he would just kill them all together. Anyway, none of the people in the Black Wind Village deserved to die. Even if Su Fan slaughtered all the people in the Black Wind Village, he would not have any psychological burden. Senior, run away quickly. At this time, Jiang Ping in the distance yelled at him. Su Fan glanced at this guy, then snorted coldly, and had no intention of paying attention to him at all. Devours, you killed so many people in my Black Wind Village, you have to give me an explanation. As a gloomy voice came, the figure of a middle-aged cultivator appeared in the air opposite Su Fan. Su Fan stood there with his hands behind his back, looking at the other party with a smile. Although he was not afraid of the old monster in the god transformation realm, he was a senior after all, so he should give him a way out. Just now, I was in a hurry and I was a little heavy-handed. How about this? I won't take any of these people's spoils, and leave them all to Black Wind Village. What do you think, senior? Chapter 849. Let's just do it to the extreme. Su Fan thought that if he took a step back, he would give the old monster in the god transformation realm a step, and then the matter would end here. Although the spoils of more than 1,000 bandit cultivators and evil cultivators would be considered a small fortune for anyone, Su Fan really looked down on these things now. But who would have thought that Su Fan's step back would have the opposite effect? In fact, when the old monster in the god transformation realm of the Black Wind Village just appeared and saw Su Fan, he was still quite cautious. Although the big boss of the Woman Upper Realm helped Su Fan cover up his breath, those cultivators just now couldn't see his whereabouts at all. But it couldn't be hidden from the old monster in the god transformation realm. He could clearly feel Su Fan's breath. He knew that Su Fan must have used some secret method to force himself to raise his realm to the same level as him. What the other party feared most was Su Fan's large-scale divine thought attack just now. This shows that Su Fan's soul is very powerful. Anyway, he definitely can't use such a powerful soul secret method. How could he know that this was a magical power that Su Fan inherited from the blood of the foreign fusion realm Great Demon after he completed the third round of tempering of the Great Demon bloodline in his body? It was not a secret method of the soul. Now Su Fan was still somewhat reluctant to use this magical power, and the power was far from reaching its peak. If it were in the past, a cultivator in the god transformation realm would be able to crush a cultivator in the nascent soul realm with just a wisp of divine thought. But the old monster in the god transformation realm didn't know, so he didn't take action immediately, but came over and scolded Su Fan loudly. To put it bluntly, he hadn't figured out Su Fan's background yet, and wanted to come over and test him first. But what surprised the old monster in the god transformation realm was that Su Fan took a step back at this time. This also made the other party misjudge that he was strong on the outside but weak on the inside. After all, Su Fan was only a cultivator in the nascent soul realm, even if he used the secret method and forcibly raised his realm by one level. But the nascent soul realm is the nascent soul realm. How could it be compared with a cultivator in the god transformation realm? Moreover, any secret method that forcibly improves the realm must have various side effects. As long as the spell time is over, a heavy price will be paid. Today you killed so many fellows in my Black Wind Village. If I don't take you down, how can I gain a foothold in the Barra Demon Mountains in the future? After hearing the words of the evil old monster in the god transformation realm, Su Fan was stunned. But he immediately understood the reason. It seems that he thought it was simple. Facing these evil cultivators, you can't retreat even a step. Su Fan sneered secretly. Since you want to die, don't blame me. The junior has done his best. Why are you still aggressive? Seeing that Su Fan was already a little timid, the evil old monster in the god transformation realm of the Black Wind Village immediately became energetic. For the sake of your origin in the Huanquan Tower, as long as you surrender, I may spare your life. What a good thing. If he surrenders, then he will be a fish on the chopping board for you to slaughter. Thinking of this, Su Fan sneered. HMPH. In that case, senior, just come on. The evil old monster in the god transformation realm looked at Su Fan fiercely. Since you don't know how to appreciate my kindness, don't blame me for being rude. After the old monster in the god transformation realm from the Black Wind Village finished speaking, he raised his right hand and was about to pinch his fingers and chant a spell, preparing to kill the arrogant boy opposite with one move. But before he finished casting the spell, he felt a black screen in front of his eyes. While the other party was casting the spell, Su Fan activated a Rakshasa Dushan crying soul demon sound and instantly awakened the demon in his body. Although it only lasted for half a breath, he instantly recovered from his confused state, but he found that the boy had appeared in front of him. Shoo! A sharp sword light whistled over his body, but fortunately, the protective formation on the robe passively triggered a light curtain to block the sword for him. But this did not save him from danger, because Su Fan activated a Rakshasa Dushan crying soul demon sound again. Puff! Su Fan cut him in half with a sword, and the corpse fell from the air in two halves and fell to the ground. Swoosh! A cloud of thick demonic smoke rushed out of the corpse, but was instantly chopped off by the whistling demon slayer sword. Seeing that evil old demon in the god transformation realm, he turned into two pieces of corpse and fell from the air. Many cultivators from the Black Wind Village nearby were all shocked and stunned. They didn't believe their eyes at all. That was an old monster in the god transformation realm, and he was gone just like that. Run! I don't know who shouted, and the many bandit cultivators and evil cultivators gathered around immediately scattered. When the evil old demon in the god transformation realm appeared just now, those bandit cultivators and evil cultivators all gathered from all over the Black Wind Village. In their opinion, Su Fan was dead. Who would have thought that the final outcome was beyond everyone's expectations and completely shattered their worldview? Let alone the old monster in the god transformation realm, even if facing a Yuanying realm cultivator of the same level, it would not be so fast. The evil old demon in the late stage of the god transformation realm just now had no power to fight back. This guy only used two moves to kill him. Throughout the tens of thousands of years in the world of cultivation, it is not uncommon for Yuanying realm cultivators to cross levels and kill old monsters in the god transformation realm. But it can be said that there is no one who kills the old monster in the god transformation realm so cleanly and neatly as today. No, there should be another one, that is Su Fan. But that big devil is a monster that defies the heavens and should not be classified as a Yuanying realm cultivator at all. Seeing the many Black Wind Village cultivators running away, Su Fan sneered. Anyway, since he has killed the evil old monster in the god transformation realm here, he might as well do it to the end and destroy the Black Wind Village. He glanced at Jiang Ping, who was in a daze in the distance, and stretched out his hand to absorb him. Dragon Elephant Step. Su Fan raised his right foot high, and then slammed it down fiercely. Boom! As his right foot slammed heavily on the ground, a terrifying sound erupted. Like a towering mountain falling to the ground. Su Fan's step seemed to have caused a huge explosion that almost overturned the entire sky, and the whole world shook violently. The terrifying and mighty force rolled up a terrifying storm that spread through the sky and the earth, and a visible airflow swept in all directions. The terrifying impact caused by the layers of violent airflow seemed to cut the entire space into pieces in an instant, and everything in its path turned into dust. As the smoke and dust dissipated, the valley was like the end of the world, and the originally densely packed houses and shacks were all turned into ruins. At this point, Black Wind Village has disappeared from this world and no longer exists. This is to make up for yesterday's chapter. Chapter 850. We can't stay in this place anymore. Su Fan waved his hand gently, and the formation flags were sucked into his hands from all directions. The spiritual shield covering the Black Wind Village also dissipated. He focused his eyes and released his spiritual sense, taking in all the movements around him. Don't hide, get out. As soon as Su Fan finished speaking, he saw a series of figures soaring into the sky and rushing out of the valley. Thank you for not killing me, I am grateful. Thank you for holding back. If you have any orders in the future, I will not refuse even if I die. I will never forget your great kindness." Shouts came from outside the valley. All of them were those who had just survived Su Fan's dragon elephant stomp. Since they were able to avoid his attack, it meant that they were not destined to die, so Su Fan did not kill them all. Anyway, there were only a few left, and it was good enough if 10% of the cultivators in the entire Black Wind village survived. Bang! Jiang Ping was thrown to the ground by Su Fan. He was already dizzy and almost fainted. He struggled to get up, looked around the valley, and couldn't help but take a breath of cold air. Black Wind Village, gone. Who is this gentleman? Killing a cultivator in the transformation realm is as easy as cutting melons and vegetables. Even the notorious Big Devil Su Fan is no more than that. You go too. Hearing Su Fan's words, Jiang Ping cursed in his heart, I want to go, but I can't even stand up in this state. He barely sat up cross-legged, then took out a jade bottle from the ring and poured out a pill to repair the soul. Jiang Ping was about to put the pill into his mouth when he saw a cloud of black smoke suddenly appear in front of him. The thick black smoke instantly condensed into a twisted and hideous ghost face, sharp fangs, half-lolling tongue, and two black holes, faintly flashing with a faint light. He was so scared that he screamed, and even the pill in his hand fell to the ground. Sister Zhen, are you free? Go clean up the battlefield. Hearing Su Fan scolding, the hideous and terrifying ghost face in front of Jiang Ping gradually turned into a beautiful face with thousands of charming faces. Sister Zhen glared at Jiang Ping fiercely, and then whoosh disappeared into the air. Jiang Ping took a deep breath, picked up the pill that fell on the ground and wanted to put it in his mouth, but he felt that the air around him was so cold. He raised his head and glanced around. His scalp suddenly exploded, and even the hair on his body stood up. He saw that this valley had been occupied by floating ghosts in the sky, and dense ghost soldiers and ghost generals were shuttling back and forth in the valley. The ghost cultivator who had just scared him was now floating above the valley. She was dressed in a black robe, with a cold look on her face. Her long black hair almost reached her feet, and was gently lifted by the breeze. Her sleeves fluttered, as if she was a fairy from heaven, without a speck of dust. Her pupils were dark and charming, as bright as the stars in the night sky, revealing a hint of evil charm that was as tempting as poison honey. Jiang Ping secretly glanced at Su Fan in the distance, and saw him standing there leisurely with his hands behind his back. This guy was actually a cultivator from the demon sect, and he was even likely to be an evil cultivator. No wonder he was so cruel and violent, almost slaughtering all the cultivators in the Black Wind Village and completely destroying the Black Wind Village. Sister Zhen summoned countless ghost soldiers and generals, scraping the ground 3 feet in the valley, and looted all the spoils of the Black Wind Village. The ghosts floating in the valley were also taken into the Gathering Yin secret realm and detained by her. Su Fan stood there with his hands behind his back. Seeing that Sister Zhen hadn't finished yet, he was obviously a little impatient. Sister Zhen, hurry up, don't collect everything like a treasure. Hearing Su Fan's urging, Sister Zhen reluctantly collected her ghost soldiers and ghost generals, and then floated to the side of the master. Master, there are still a lot of things down there. It's all because you destroyed this place so thoroughly. Otherwise, you can get a lot of treasures. Su Fan couldn't help but roll his eyes. What's so good about those rags? Big sister, we have plenty of money now. Okay, we should go. Sister Zhen pouted reluctantly, then turned into a puff of black smoke and returned to the secret realm of follow-up diagnosis. Su Fan glanced at Jiang Ping in the distance, but didn't pay any attention to him. His figure slowly disappeared into the air. Seeing that guy's figure disappear, Jiang Ping finally breathed a sigh of relief. The pressure in front of this senior was not ordinary. He even had a hard time breathing, and his whole body felt like a mountain was pressing down on him. At this time, the valley was silent, accompanied by a gentle breeze blowing, making a sound, feeling like being in a ghost cave. Jiang Ping couldn't help but shudder. He couldn't stay in this place any longer. Thinking of this, he struggled to get up from the ground, and then drove the flying magic weapon to leave the valley. After flying thousands of miles away, Jiang Ping found a safe place to land in the surrounding mountains. He took a jade talisman from his waist, and then input spiritual energy to stimulate a light curtain. Jiang Ping thought for a while, and then narrated what happened in the Black Wind Village in detail, and then sent it out with a message. After a long time, a few lines of handwriting appeared on the light curtain. You said that he easily killed the old monster in the god transformation realm by himself, and almost slaughtered all the cultivators in the Black Wind Bone, and finally completely destroyed the place. Are you sure that Song Hao is just a cultivator in the late nascent soul realm? Are you making up a story? Even mortals wouldn't dare to write a story like you. Zhang Ping, have you been hit by the evil method of the evil cultivator and become crazy? Faced with a constant questioning from his superior, Zhang Ping was immediately furious. Damn, I told the truth, but no one believed it. In fact, Zhang Ping also understood the other party. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he would not believe that what happened in the Black Wind village just now was true. I can swear with my heart of Tao that everything I said is true, without any exaggeration. You can send someone to investigate. After he sent this message, his superior took a long time to reply. It's not that I don't believe you, the problem is that if I report it like this, how can I make the organization believe it? Seeing the reply from his superior, Zhang Ping smiled bitterly. Isn't it? Who would believe such a thing? Just report it as I said. It won't be long before those who survived in Black Wind Village will spread the news. Okay, I will report it as you said. Then the organization may send someone to question you. There is another chapter around 12 o'clock in the evening. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.